illegally locked out.
She cursed me out and threatened to punch me in the face.
This is Judge Judy. Sharon Suisi and her boyfriend Deontay Lawrence are suing their former landlord, Eilena James, for the return of rent, the value of their belongings, and an illegal lockout.
Yeah, this is case number 14 on the calendar in the matter of Suisi, Lawrence versus James. The parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Thanks, Bird.
You're welcome, Judge.
Miss Suisi, you and Mr. Lawrence live together. He's your boyfriend.
Yes.
And you have a child, according to what I read here.
Yes, I have a 3-year-old.
And Mr. Lawrence is not that child's father.
No, ma'am.
You and Mr. Lawrence are expecting a child of your own?
Yes.
Okay. When did you move into a house that is owned by Mrs. James?
We moved in October 1st of 2019.
How did you find that room?
Her granddaughter is actually one of my friends. We grew up at the church together.
But Miss James was not living in the house. Her granddaughter was living in the house. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So whatever arrangement you made with regard to living in the house, whatever agreement was made with the granddaughter?
Yes, she was acting as the house manager.
And you did not have a written lease with her?
No, ma'am.
How many other people?
There was a total of 10 people, 7 adults and 3 kids.
Miss James, did you know that there were all those people living in your house?
No.
And you allowed your granddaughter to stay there? Was she supposed to pay rent?
Yes, she was.
Was she working?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the rent she was supposed to pay?
She was supposed to pay $3,000 a month.
Did she pay it?
Yes.
And I assume that you knew that in order for her to pay the rent, she was going to have to rent out some of the rooms.
No, that was not the agreement that I had with her.
The agreement was that just she would be living there?
Yes, she and her family. She had a husband and a child.
All right, so, Miss Suisi, let's go back to you.
Yes, ma'am. We moved in there October of 2019.
Right. And what was your rental arrangement with Miss James's granddaughter?
We would move in the beginning of October, the October 1st to be exact. We would pay $600 a month. That was rent, including utilities. It was also supposed to include Wi-Fi in the house. When we got there, there were already roommates there, and that's what prolonged us to move in. Instead of moving in September, we moved in October because she still had other tenants in the house.
Other people there?
Yes.
Okay. So you lived there in October?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay your $600 a month in October?
Yes, ma'am. The original agreement was to pay every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks?
Yes.
So you paid $300 every 2 weeks?
It was because she already takes care of I guess the $3,000 was the mortgage at the time. So she already was taking care of the $3,000, and you just paid her.
You had a fixed rent.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, you had a fixed rent. What I'm asking you is, in the month of October, did you pay $600?
Yes, ma'am.
In the month of November, did you pay $600?
I actually paid $800. They raised the rent on October the 20th.
In November?
Yes.
In December, did you pay the $800 a month rent?
Yes, ma'am.
In January, did you pay the $800 a month rent?
Yes, ma'am.
In February, did you pay the $800 a month rent?
No, and that's when the altercation began, and I gave them a 30-day notice to leave. Deontay was laid off due to the virus.
In February?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lawrence, what kind of work were you doing?
I'm a cargo handler at LAX.
When in February were you laid off? That's a very early date to be. Miss Suisi, I'm not speaking to you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm speaking to Mr. Lawrence now. Mr. Lawrence.
I was laid off in February, early February.
You were laid off in early February because of COVID?
Yes, ma'am.
Not March.
Not March.
Are you sure about that?
I'm sure.
Your Honor, we also have a letter from his job as well, stating his layoff paper.
I'd like to see it. For being laid off temporarily on February 14th and layoff temporary lack of work due to coronavirus. Please refer to California Programs unemployment. Okay. So you did work half a month in February.
Yes.
And how much was your paycheck every 2 weeks?
Around $400, $500, but around that time we was slow on work and we were barely making our 40-hour mark, and then that's what led us to being laid off because there wasn't enough work going on.
But you did get 2 paychecks in February.
Yes.
And Ms. Suisi, what kind of work do you do?
At the time, I was working for AT&T. I lost my job November the 4th. So I was Lyft driving, I was Postmating, DoorDash, those self-contracted. So that's how I was paying my portion of the rent.
Okay, so in February,
Yes, ma'am.
when he was laid off, you knew it was temporary, but he did get paid for half a month of February, and you were still working.
In the end of January, my car broke down, and that's obviously how I drive, is because I have to, deliver food and stuff. So I ended up having to get a new car in February 4th to be exact. I had to buy a new car. So for about 3 weeks, we didn't have any income from my portion at all. So those 2 paychecks that he got, we had to pay back bills as well. So we didn't really have any money. Like, it was maybe, checks were like
Did you get
$400
it?
a quart.
How much do you pay a month on the car?
Oh, I paid $389 for my car note and about $215 for car insurance.
So about $600 a month.
Correct.
Okay, so you moved out in what month?
We actually were locked out of the house in February. February 28th, to be exact, was the first day of the lockout. And then February 29th, we were completely locked out. I gave a notice of 30 days on February 11th to Janine and to Eilina.
And where did you intend to go?
I had spoken with my dad to come back home.
Did your father agree to let you move home?
Yes, due to the situation, he allowed me to come back because I had my son.
With Mr. Lawrence?
No, Mr. Lawrence, I'm sorry. Deontay actually went back to his mother's house.
And that was your plan on the 11th, so that you could save money?
Yes, until we can figure out what our next steps were going to be.
Okay. The reason I'm asking these questions is because it's fine that you were planning because of his job situation. You were going to buy a new car and have a substantial car payment. I mean, you're trying to be organized. But you realize that up until February 11th, you had income from Mr. Lawrence, at least from Mr. Lawrence, and you paid $0 in rent.
Yes, so
for the month of February.
I paid nothing in February because I had multiple conversations as house manager since the granddaughter had moved out of state. I had multiple conversations with her telling her I was not working and then I will pay at the end of the month. And I actually submitted an evidence for a text message that Eilina texted the granddaughter knowing that I would pay on February 29th, and they still locked us out on the 28th.
How are you going to pay on February 29th?
Because once I got my car, I Lyft drove, Postmated, day in, day out, like 5 to 6 hours a day. Because at that time, my son was in school, so I had to pay $655 a month for his daycare as well. So I was like Lyft driving consistently.
No, I get the idea that the two of you were really trying to put it together and to be responsible. But the bottom line of your responsibility was with regard to the roof over your head. You chose not to pay any rent in February, the beginning of February, or the middle of February while still living there. You bought a new car. You were paying $600 a month for the car. You were paying $600+ a month to keep your son in daycare. That's $1,200. The only one that you weren't paying anything to for you and for Mr. Lawrence was to the landlord, and you were planning on leaving. I say all those things, Miss Suessy, because you're suing the defendant for $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And you say a partial return of rent. Well, why do you think you're due a partial return of rent?
Well, when we first made the arrangement to move into the house, we were told we would have a room. When we first got there, we lived in a loft. No door, no window. Oh, it had one window. We had to go upstairs. We had to pull the stairs down to even get to the loft. It was literally a small little box. We lived out of boxes for 4 months up until December. So October to December, we lived in that loft. We eventually moved down in January to a room, which was occupied at that time. We first moved in by another tenant. But in November, we found out that one of the roommates in the room, which happens to be her grandson, he's a schizophrenic. We weren't told that when we moved in. We've had to make multiple phone calls to the police to come take care of him, to take him to the hospital. I ended up having to send my son away to stay with his dad for about October to January, full time. I would wake up every morning, 6 a.m. to get to LA to take him to and from school, etc. Just because of the safety of the house. The house never stayed clean.
Okay, Miss Suessy, let me stop you. Everyday grown-ups deal with choices, especially people who think they're grown up enough to have 2 children. And you and Mr. Lawrence had a choice. Mr. Lawrence had a choice to go home to his mother's house if he was not happy. You had a choice to ask her to have a lease. You were on a month-to-month tenancy. If you weren't satisfied with the loft, there was nothing holding you there. You could have left.
Well, it wasn't that easy.
If you were not satisfied with the room, what I'm telling you is people have choices and have to accept responsibility. If I were living in a place that I was not happy with or didn't feel safe in or didn't feel safe enough for my children to live there, I would say, I'm going home to my father's house. At least I'm going to reach out to my dad and see if I can come home for a while until we can get settled. Mr. Lawrence was living with his mother. He's still living with his mother. So you had options. Your option was if you didn't like the space that you were renting and paid for through February, you could have moved. So I'm not entertaining your request for a return of your rent.
We couldn't go back to our parents' house. Deontay doesn't have a room at his mother's house, and at my dad's house, my dad told me I couldn't come back.
That's not the defendant's fault.
I understand that.
That's not the defendant's fault.
But we were moved in under false circumstances, ma'am.
Listen to me. If you didn't like the loft, find another room.
We were supposed to get another room in
October.
November.
No. If you didn't like the place, find another place. You're not getting a partial return of your rent.
Okay.
Period. Those are your choices. Now, value of the property. What property are you alleged or destroyed of yours?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This specific picture where she's saying she left her ring, I didn't see a ring, and
That's
we
a
completely
picture of
cleaned
the
up the room.
TV and the TV
And the blue
area.
boxes.
Miss Susie, was your TV sitting on top of those two blue boxes?
Yes.
Miss James, did you take Miss Susie's ring?
Sharon Susie and boyfriend Deontay Lawrence claim former landlord Ilena James illegally evicted them during the pandemic. Ilena is countersuing for 1 month's rent, late fees, and property damage.
Now, value of the property. What property are you alleging that the defendant either took from you or destroyed of yours?
I'm paying on a ring that I purchased from Daniels. When we got locked out of the house, when we were eventually able to recover our belongings, my stuff was already packed up. They had went into the room, which had a lock on my door. They took the doorknob off to go in the room. They packed up all of our stuff and had it by the front door. My ring is missing, his birth certificate is missing, and his social is missing, and we don't know where it is.
So let me stop.
Yes.
Let me stop. Do you have Mr. Lawrence's Social Security card?
No.
And birth property of theirs did you pack up? And where did you get the boxes to pack it up, Miss James?
They had boxes in their room, and I supplied some boxes, just put the stuff in the boxes and took it downstairs. We didn't
Who's
go.
we?
My daughter and I, Janine.
Okay. Would Janine stand up and stand next to your mom, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see Mr. Lawrence's Social Security card or birth certificate?
No.
And where had you left, Miss Susie, your ring?
There were blue tubs that my TV sat on that the ring was sitting next to. The ring was actually too big, so about 2 days before that, I took it off because I was going to get my nails done and I wouldn't be able to keep it on because it wasn't staying on my finger.
Okay. Did you get your TV back?
We got everything back eventually a week and a half later.
Okay. You got everything back, you say, but the ring.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm still paying on that.
Miss James, did you take Miss Susie's ring?
No.
Janine?
No, ma'am. I have
No.
a picture of the room. This specific picture where she's saying she left her ring, I actually have a picture of that area. So before we packed up anything, I took pictures of all the spaces, and that is a picture, and I didn't see a ring, and
That's
we
a
completely
picture of
cleaned
the
up the room.
TV and the TV
And the blue
area.
boxes.
Miss Susie, was your
Yes.
TV sitting on?
Somewhere right there
That's all.
behind the TV.
Well, somewhere is not
Yeah,
there.
it's
They don't
like
have the
just
ring.
gone on.
And they packed up your stuff from that mess that was left behind. Okay. Now, with regard to the unlawful lockout, it's clear to me, Miss Susie, that you intended, based upon your own conduct, to move out by March 10th because you gave 30-day notice on February 11th, correct?
That was the second
That's
notice,
what you
yes.
just told me.
Yes.
Okay. So, in effect, when they locked you out,
Yes, ma'am.
and they locked you out the end of February, it's 9 days that you were illegally locked out.
Okay.
9 days. Now, you didn't pay rent for the month of February, and your rent was $800.
Yes, ma'am.
I need a calculator or I need Bird. Bird,
Yes, Judge.
can you give me a daily rate on $800 a month? Let's base it on 30 days.
If I may, Your Honor, I do have a text message
There's not a question. There's not a question.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The reason I put her out was because she threatened to punch me in the face and tase my grandson.
Well, that's all a problem, but that doesn't give you the right.
Judge Judy, Sharon Suessy, and boyfriend Deontay Lawrence claim former landlord Eilina James locked them out during the pandemic.
It's the daily rate on $800.
$26.66 a day, Judge.
Okay, and can you multiply that by 9, please?
$239.94.
I'm adding these numbers together, Bert, because I have a counterclaim here for the month of February's rent, which you are owed. But if I deduct the $250 as a penalty for putting them out 9 days too soon, that still leaves $550 that would be due and owing you on your rent for February, which I'm going to forfeit because I think it was wrong for you to lock them out on the 29th unless you have a reasonable explanation. Because you got a 30-day notice from the plaintiffs that they were, in fact, moving out. And before that 30 days expired, because they told you they were leaving, so by the 9th of March, they were supposed to be gone. You could have changed the locks then.
Okay.
What moved you to move them out early?
Okay, first of all, they said they were leaving on January 1st, and they did not leave, they stayed. And then I had no reason to...
How did they tell you that they were leaving on January 1st?
January 1st.
But they never told you.
And they sent a text to Janine, because Janine was handling, and said they were leaving on January 1st.
Your Honor, we originally said we were leaving January the 1st because they tried to raise the rent again to $1,000. And I have a text message where I stated we will not be able to pay $1,000. And with the living conditions, I for sure was not paying $1,000. And I didn't have a room at that time either. I was living in the loft.
The reason I put her out was because she cursed me out and threatened to punch me in the face and tase my grandson.
Well, that's all a problem, but that doesn't give you the right. That gives you the right to seek a protective order against her. It does a lot of things, but it doesn't give you the right to violate the law. The law says that you cannot evict anybody.
Your Honor, this was all pre-COVID. We didn't hear about COVID
What was pre-COVID?
This whole situation was pre-COVID. The whole COVID announcement didn't happen until late mid-March.
I'm checking to see. Just give me a moment and I'll come back to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Bert, do you have the date?
Yes, oratorium.
March 27.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Wasn't sure. Now, you lived in the house up until the end of February, so you owe the defendant $800 for rent.
Can I ask you, ma'am, why, if his whole situation was due to the COVID and it's a valid paper from his employer, that was half of our income right there.
That's not her problem.
But I informed them.
I don't care what you informed them. You paid for your car and you paid for your child's daycare. The only thing that you didn't pay for was your rent. So you owe them $800 for rent on the counterclaim. Thank you very much. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The dog bit me on my thigh. I started screaming for her to get her dogs.
The doctor viewed 2 puncture wounds in her thigh.
She was okay.
She's being stupid.
Next Judge Judy.
There was literally 10 other people in the house before we got there.
The cleanliness of the house.
So I don't understand how she's saying
it's a month to clean up, and
we clean up after ourselves. We actually contributed to most of the cleaning supplies in the household.
Didn't want to rent it in the first place. Just left my granddaughter there.
I'm glad. I'm 6 months pregnant and I'm ready for it to be over.
And she rented to 1,000 people. I didn't know.
Why did you leave your mother's?
I ran away after she sent me to jail.
She didn't send you. The police took you to jail.
A young woman runs into trouble.
So you moved in with your grandfather.
Or does it run in the family?
He punched you?
And that's when the chokehold happened.
I wouldn't call it a chokehold. I grabbed him.
He's on parole for first-degree murder.
This is Judge Judy.
23-year-old Cassandra Currier is suing her grandfather, Michael Walker, for an illegal eviction, a false restraining order, and physical abuse.
Order. All rise. It's case number 432 on the calendar in the matter of Currier versus Walker.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Currier, how old are you?
23.
What do you do for a living?
I'm unemployed at the moment.
Who were you living with?
My mother.
For how long?
2 months.
Prior to that, where were you living?
My grandfather.
Prior to living with your mother, you were living with your grandfather.
Correct.
And then you moved back with your grandfather.
Correct.
In what month did you move into your mother's?
May 17th, 2019.
And why did you leave your mother's?
I ran away after she sent me to jail.
She sent you to jail for... She didn't send you. The police took you to jail.
False accusations of domestic violence.
She made an allegation against you of domestic violence.
Correct.
Now, prior to living with your mother, you say you were living with your grandfather.
Correct.
Where were you living with your grandfather?
Tustin, California.
And why did you leave to go to your mother's house?
There was issues within the household between all of us, or betwixt all of us.
Well, not all of you. There was you and your grandfather. Who else?
And my mother. She moved in. She lost her house.
But then she moved out and you moved with her.
Correct.
And then you moved back with your grandfather.
Correct.
After your mother had you arrested, and you stayed with him until when?
From July 7th to July 19th.
Of 2019.
Correct.
You're suing him for an illegal eviction. Is that the eviction that you're talking about in July of 2019?
No, ma'am.
What eviction?
The eviction that took place on December 20th.
Period of time, 7/7 to 7/19. And then you left.
In between.
And where
that,
did you go?
In between that time, we moved on July 24th to a house in 29 Palms.
Who was working?
No one.
Who was paying the rent?
My grandfather.
Okay.
We bought a house with a VA loan.
And you moved in together then on 7/24, so you moved in with your grandfather. Were you paying any of the expenses?
Yes.
What expenses?
Cell phone, car
that's
payment.
your cell phone.
My cell phone, correct, on his
good for
account.
you. What else?
Not true here.
What house expenses were you paying?
None.
None. Okay, so you were a guest in his house. Look at me. So you were a guest in your grandfather's house.
Incorrect.
Like if I invited one of my grandchildren to come and move in.
The only...
Just a second. One of my grandkids said to me, "Can I come and stay with you, Nana?" And I said, "Sure." And then they got sassy or nasty or did something I didn't like, and I said, "Pack up and go." You think that that's an illegal eviction?
No, he can only have me living with him. He's on parole for first-degree murder.
Just a second. I didn't ask you that. I know that you wanted to get that in there. But what I'm asking you is, you lived there, you weren't working, and you were paying no expenses. So you were living as a guest in your grandfather's house.
Correct.
Well, then he can't illegally evict you.
The only me. It's on his parole.
Who cares?
I care.
What? Well, I don't care. The law doesn't care. You may care, but the law doesn't care. You're a guest in his house. He's paying the expenses on the house. You're living with him, and if something happens, and he said to you, "I don't want you to live here anymore. Goodbye, pack up and leave," that's what you have to do. You're a guest, and if a parole board wants to come after him for that, that's their prerogative. That has nothing to do with you. Where did you move to in December when you had this kerfuffle with your grandfather?
My car.
When was the last time you had a real job?
May 17th.
When you were living with your mother?
Yes and no. That was the last day that I left from my job. It was Robert Half International. I was working there for March to May.
For 3 months?
Correct. Before that, I was a general manager for 2 years, House of Pokey.
Well, why don't you have a job now?
It's been difficult as far as living in my car for the longest time. I did have a job. I signed paperwork, submitted it. I was under the impression that I was going to be getting paid $3,000 a month for a shipping and receiving clerk. And when it came to February 14th, I was supposed to receive my first check. Didn't hear back from anybody.
Just a minute, a shipping and receiving of what?
Clerk.
Did you work for somebody?
I did.
Library?
No, ma'am.
Do you know why?
No one's responded.
Who is this?
This is Christopher.
No, you don't have to get up. Who is he?
A friend. He's allowing me to stay at his house.
Where?
Pomona.
Okay, so you're not living in your car anymore?
Not since December 27th.
Oh, well, that's great. Nice of you.
Ma'am.
So you're staying with him?
Correct.
And looking for work?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. The last part of your lawsuit, because he doesn't owe you for an illegal eviction, he filed a restraining order to keep you out of the house because you evidently didn't want to leave. You have a punitive damage for physical abuse. You want to tell me about that?
Yes. So it started on November 17th of 2019.
November 17th,
Yes.
2019.
Yeah, around 9 a.m.
And what happened?
There was an altercation that had occurred betwixt my grandfather and I, resulting in him putting me in a chokehold and putting his hands on me, physically abusing me.
No, that's two different things. Putting you in a chokehold, and you made a punching motion. Now, is that what he did? He punched you?
He did.
Do you have any photographs of injuries?
I do not.
Okay. And what was the...
To the house.
What do you mean touching the electrical box? Explain it.
The house that we had bought was...
No, you didn't buy it together. He bought it. You had no money. You had no job. You got a VA
Correct.
loan. And the fact that he may need someone to live with him right now, he's here and nobody's taking him into custody because you're not living with him, okay? So I want you to get that windshield wiper that out of your head. What do you mean touching the electrical box?
I was trying to figure out why our well pump wasn't working or why our refrigerator wasn't receiving water to produce ice.
And?
As well as filtered water to the sink, and I have a video of that.
And?
It resulted in me taking a loose wire from the floor. When I picked it up, it sparked, so the next move I made was went to the electrical box to turn off the power, thus not getting a spark anymore. He was upset at the fact that I'm not an electrician, so I should mind my own business in that department.
Okay, so he said to you, don't do that. Don't touch anything that you don't know anything about. You're not an electrician. And what did you say to him?
I didn't say anything, and that was an issue to him, that I wasn't responding.
Go ahead.
So I went to, when I turned around, he blocked my path, so I couldn't exit out the front door.
And?
I went underneath his arm to escape, and that's when the chokehold happened.
Yes, Your Honor. I was on the ground underneath the tractor, working on the tractor. I heard an electrical explosion, and I heard her say, "Oh!" I came out from under the tractor. I thought she'd been electrocuted. And she was standing near the well pump, and there was evidence of a large spark. She had tried to attach a 240-volt wire to ground. I said, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm trying to find out why we're not getting any water." We were getting water, Your Honor. She was confused. So she went in. She said, "Which one of these breakers turns off the pump?" I said, "Leave it alone. It's none of your business. It has nothing to do with you. Leave the pump alone."
Incorrect. I didn't ask him.
Don't speak. He didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
So she went to the electrical box, and she turned a breaker off that said pump on it. It's the wrong pump, not the pump that she was messing with. And then she started heading back out to the pump. And I did stand in her way, and I was not going to let her go back out to the pump. And she charged me, and she went under me and knocked me backwards out the door. If I had not grabbed onto her, I would have landed on my back on the rock walkway. And I wouldn't call it a chokehold. I grabbed her.
Did you punch her?
No, I did not.
I don't believe that either. When's the next incident of assault? On November 15th.
There was an animal abuse, and what I'm referring to is a dog that that was under our care for Rover.com. It's a dog sitting business. He overdosed her for 3 counts. Instead of giving her 3 cc's of insulin, he gave her 30. And unfortunately, she had multiple seizures and died.
What does that have to do with you?
Well, that's a part of abuse.
Next.
November 8th, I ended up calling the police on my grandfather.
Tell me what happened.
Correction, December 12th.
Go ahead.
So my grandfather had, the first event was he called the police department and filed a false accusation that I had stolen a cell phone worth $1,000 of his. So when I arrived back from the Sprint store that day, he held out his phone to me, and there was an officer that stated he was going to be arresting me on a felony charge for this cell phone. The reason how this cell phone came into play was the altercation betwixt my grandfather and I, of him laying his hands on me. Later that night, I threatened to call his parole officer because of this abuse.
Well, just a second. You gave me two instances that happened. November 15th, that happened with the dog. 17th, when you got into a family dispute because you were touching his property and he grabbed hold of you. Did not punch you. You don't have any evidence of that. So you're still living in the same house.
Correct.
Right? So now we're talking about almost a month later.
Yes, that next incident was the cell phone.
And you were living in his house for that month.
Correct.
Next.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Finding a job for an able-bodied 23-year-old person is not so difficult. There are help wanted signs all over for all kinds of positions. You may not love them, but they're a place to start.
And later today.
Tell me what happened.
It was after 11 o'clock at that time. It was closer to 12.
Well, actually, you say it was about 9.
No, it was late.
You said it was about, I'm reading your answer.
Cassandra Courier says her grandfather, Michael Walker, evicted her by way of a false restraining order. She also claims her grandfather physically abused her.
Okay. Ms. Courier, I'm going to suggest that you're a young woman, you're 23 years old, you're unemployed. I'm going to suggest to you that you're letting you live in his house while you look for a job, okay? Finding a particular job isn't always easy. But finding a job for an able-bodied 23-year-old person is not so difficult. There are help wanted signs all over for all kinds of positions. You may not love them, but they're a place to start. Do you work?
Not currently right now, ma'am. I'm going to school.
And who takes care of you?
I'm at my parents' house currently.
So she's living with you in your parents' house?
That's correct, ma'am.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you very much. I've had enough of this case. Thank you. Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel threatened for my life.
I didn't owe my granddaughter anything. I was trying to help her.
The physical abuse of living with somebody who did 30 years.
She ran up $14,000 on my credit cards. I had to take my credit cards away from her.
I want to live my life.
I still love her.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter, Rogers versus Robinson. Step forward.
Sean Rogers Sr. is suing his ex-girlfriend, Carla Robinson, for hospital bills and lost wages after he broke his foot when she maliciously knocked him down the stairs.
Mr. Rogers, the defendant and you had a relationship for a period of time. That didn't work out. While you were involved in this relationship and other things, did you live together?
No, I spent a lot of nights at her house.
So you had things there?
Yeah.
And it is your allegation that when you went to retrieve some of that property, there was an altercation which resulted in you having a broken foot.
Yes.
And that Miss Robinson is responsible for that.
Yes.
So I see your foot is in a boot.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me when this happened.
This happened, it was like 1st of November.
So what happened on November 1st?
Well, I called her. I wanted to pick up some items from her house, so...
What items?
House shoes, clothing, toothbrush.
What time did you call her?
It was approximately around 8:30 p.m.
Did you speak to her?
Yes. I spoke with her on the telephone, telling her I was on my way.
You told her you were on your way, you didn't ask. So far, is that correct that he called? And
No,
said,
that's not exactly what happened, no.
Well, tell me what happened.
Okay. Mr. Rogers have a very bad habit of...
Don't tell me what
it was
happened.
after 11 o'clock at that time. It was closer to 12, actually.
Hold on a second. Well, actually, you say it was about 9.
No, it was just late.
You said it was about... I'm reading your answer.
Oh, okay, because he comes by really late at night.
What I'm telling you was...
Okay.
That's what you said.
Okay.
In your answer.
Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection that it wasn't midnight? Okay, and go ahead.
Okay, and so at that time I didn't want to open the door, not without somebody being an attendant or something like that. So I offered to call my sister to be there, but he didn't want that. So I never opened the door for Mr. Rogers. I let him ramp and rave outside. So at this point in time, I did not want to let Mr. Rogers in, which he intentionally gets mad and takes the mailbox off my house and threw it, and then threw some garbage cans and some other stuff. So when I heard him do the scene that I call it outside, I didn't open the door or entertain it. I didn't know until the next day. I didn't know until the next day that he's supposedly hurt his leg.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you have a broken foot.
At first, when it broke, I'm thinking it's like severe sprain. I'm like that manly man.
I want to know when you went to the doctor.
I went the second, and they told me that my
Don't tell
insurance
me what they told you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sean Rogers Sr. is suing his ex-girlfriend, Carla Robinson, for hospital bills and lost wages after he broke his foot when she maliciously knocked him down the stairs.
Now, why didn't you just give him his things?
Because prior to this, Mr. Rogers, once before, and this time, maybe that's why I got this mixed at night, the officers could tell you, because he called the officers on himself to come get a saw, and it was about 12 o'clock at that time at night, and I explained to them I wasn't going to open my door, and after speaking with Mr. Rogers, they saw why I would not open my door, and then I proceeded to get him his saw at that point in time, but he likes to wait till these...
With the police officer?
Yes.
But you had other things that were in the house, clothes, shoes.
Right, and at that time, I could not locate it, everything that they were looking for, because I would wash these things and hand them to them.
Who's they?
The officers, because they stood at the door for me while I get those things. The second time, I just didn't open the door at all.
So the second time, which is on November 1st, when he came to the house, you didn't open the door at all?
No, Your Honor. I opened the chasing door. It's like a storm.
Who did you go there with?
A friend of mine drove me around there.
A friend drove you there?
Yeah.
Where is he?
He couldn't make it because of work.
What do you do for working, Mr. Rogers?
Well, I'm a direct salesman. I walk through the city selling socks, T-shirts, boxers. I have a large clientele of people. Everybody know me in the metro area.
What metro area?
Milwaukee. And I distribute to everybody.
You sell things on the street?
Yes. Directly.
Okay. Now, I'd like to see your medical records, sir.
That's
what this case is about.
Here you are.
Sir, I don't see that you went to the doctor's office or a hospital either November 1st, November 2nd, November 3rd, November 4th, November 5th,
Okay.
November 6th, November 7th, November 8th, November 9th, November 10th, November 11th, November 12th, November 13th, November 14th, November 15th, November 16th.
There's an explanation for that, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
When I went on the second, my United Care health insurance had elapsed, so I just come out of Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which was...
Sir, I can't help you without medical records. I can't help you with that. I have to see a doctor who saw you either that day or the next day or the next day. If you have a broken foot, you have a doctor who sees you, who was reported, it's not helping you.
Judge Judy, like severe sprain. I'm like that manly man.
I want to know when you went to the doctor.
I went the second, and when I went the second, they told me that my insurance wasn't
Don't tell me what they told you.
Right, and so I went later.
What date later?
I went on the 19th.
Goodbye, Mr. Rogers. We're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
She totally caught me off guard, just started punching me. She had pushed me down.
How did her nose get broken, Miss Reyes? You did, in fact, punch her.
Next, Judge Judy.
My foot is broke. It didn't get broken any other time after the fact.
I always knew that she was going to see through it.
I went backwards after handing me my stuff, and all my weight landed on my foot.
I did hear something outside, but that's what he does. He's an actor.
She's just got a feisty way when she's upset.
Don't come knocking.
The love I had for him just wasn't there no more. The love just had faded away.
Their relationship was finally over.
Things went bad.
Has Mr. Nieves ever hit you?
Yes, he has.
She's lying, Your Honor.
I'm pulling up, and I tell him, what do you want? Get out of here. He rammed his truck into my vehicle.
That never happened.
Nope.
Judge Judy. This is Judge Judy. Daniela Hernandez is suing her ex-boyfriend, Luis Nieves, for ramming her vehicle in a fit of rage. She is also suing for the cost to rent a car.
Judge, this is case number 19 on the calendar in the matter of Hernandez versus Nieves. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Ms. Hernandez, you and the defendant have 2 children together. How old are they?
16 and 14.
Both boys?
No, growing boy.
The boy is 14?
Yes.
How long did you and Mr. Nieves live together?
About a year.
In what year?
2004.
And then you were separated?
Yeah, off and on.
When did you get back together again?
Last year.
In 2019?
Yes.
Well, in between there, I know that you had to have
in
gotten together
yeah.
a little bit before.
In 2006.
For how long?
About a year.
And then he left again, or you left?
I left.
Why?
It wasn't working out.
Tell me, wasn't working out in 2004? I'm asking these questions for a reason, because it leads up to temper. Had Mr. Nieves displayed a temper to you, either in when you lived together in 2004 or 2006?
Yes.
Okay. And you've actually then lived apart for about her or
yes.
mate?
Yes, I do.
And what is his name?
Dominic.
How long have you been living with Dominic?
Since my mother passed away.
When was that? What year?
This year.
In 2019?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Nieves.
Yes, Your Honor.
There were several occasions in which you lost your temper, according to the plaintiff. And you didn't lose your temper and hit her, but you lost your temper and damaged her car with your car or with a car that you were driving. And she would like to be compensated for that. The first one was a year ago, 2019. Do you want to tell me what happened in 2019, Mr. Nieves?
Yes, in 2019, there was one day where I left her at the beach with the kids because we started arguing for something stupid. So I left and I told her to find her own ride home because we were on my vehicle. So I got home, and then like a couple minutes later, she arrived home, and she arrived home with all the kids, and in front of all the kids, started attacking me and hitting me. And that was the first time she disrespected me at my house, and there was nobody home. My mom wasn't there or anybody. Then she called her brother over, and then I don't know who she called, but she called a couple people, so I called the cops and then came back the following day.
Okay, and nothing happened with the car?
Nothing happened that day.
So when did it happen?
Okay, so there was this
damaged her car?
It was like a couple of weeks after that. We just started arguing for, I have no clue for what, to be honest. Well,
okay, so she came home.
Yeah, she came back.
So she came home.
We made everything peaceful after that. So we started off fresh again.
Okay.
So that deal was over with, right? But it still brought me flashbacks from like when I was a kid, because she used to do the same thing when I was a kid. When we were kids, she used to attack me all the time as well. And in front of my mom, in front of whoever was there would see it. Whether it was in the middle of the street or not, she's broken my windows.
Let's move on to the car.
Okay. So that day, she jumped on me and she scratched my face. And I ran out the door into my truck and I reversed and tried to do a U-turn in my driveway, and I hit her car with the back of my truck.
Okay. And that was taken care of?
Yes, it was.
By insurance, is that right?
Yes.
By my insurance.
Yes. Now, Miss Hernandez, did you scratch him in the face?
Yes, I did.
Why?
He tried to put his hands on me, so to defend myself, I scratched him in the face.
How did he try to put his hands?
Well, he tried to hit me. I can't remember for what, but he tried to hit me.
Miss Hernandez, has Mr. Nieves ever hit you?
Yes, he has.
She's lying, Your Honor.
In what year?
Through...
all the way up. So he tried to hit you. Did he ever hit you in 2004? That's either a yes or a no. Did he ever hit you in 2004?
Yes.
She doesn't even know what she's answering, Your Honor.
Tell me how much.
Shh.
Shh. What I want you to do is make sure you give me the truthful answer to a question, because there's going to be a follow-up question, Ms. Hernandez. Do you understand?
Yes.
Could you estimate how many times Mr. Nieves hit you between 2004 and 2019? Hit you. Not tried to hit you, but hit you.
I'm going to say about 10.
Did you ever report any of those assaults to authorities?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember in what year?
I remember a couple.
Tell me, if it was just a couple, then those couple of times it must have been serious.
I remember it was 2005. I remember, well, after that, it was 2019.
Your Honor, there isn't any times. That's why she doesn't have a date, all right?
No, just a second. Now, those are the 2 times you remember and the 2 times you reported it to the police.
Yes.
In 2019, tell me the circumstances surrounding you reporting an assault to the police.
There is none.
I have the report here. There was a time where he thought I was cheating on him, so I went to his job and he took my phone from me, grabbed the hammer, started like nothing, just threw it away.
Can I see that police report?
No, that one I don't have, but I have one where he beat me up in his garage. He threw me to the floor and told me whether I like it or not, this is where
In
I'm
what
gonna.
year?
2019.
Okay, so first he hit you in the garage. Was that the same day on the 20th?
Yes, it was.
So after he assaulted you in the garage, he left?
I left, yes.
You left. So you had gone to his house?
Yes.
Well, what did you go to his house for?
Because we were going to talk about just being good terms and just, I don't know what got into him and just things went bad.
What time did you show up at his house?
Probably around 11.
So you went to his house at 11 p.m. Did you tell him that you were coming?
He knew. He called me and told me to come over.
Don't tell me what he knew. Don't tell me what he knew.
He called me to come over.
Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, but there's a possibility, yes.
Yes. So you asked her to come over?
Yes, because I wanted to be with her. I was trying to do everything the right way ever since I got back with her.
11 o'clock at night is not breakfast time.
Well, I don't know if it was 11 o'clock, to be honest
Okay.
with you. It could have been 1 in the
All
morning.
right. So you invited her to come over at 11 o'clock at night. She came over. You had an argument. Now, Ms. Hernandez, now tell me what happened with the car.
The incident happened on the 20th. My car happened days after.
I want to know what happened with your car. Now we're back to your car.
But you want to know what crashed my car?
You indicate that there are 3 things that you are suing him for. In case you forgot, I'm going to tell you. You first alleged that he damaged your car in 2019. You got a rental car. When he damaged your car, that was paid for by insurance.
Yes.
When you got a rental car, he damaged the rental car, and now they're coming after you, you say, for $1,000. Tell me about your rental car. Come on. Questions get harder.
It happened down the street from his house.
On what date?
I don't remember exactly, but it was a few days before I had to turn in the vehicle. He hit me with the rental truck that he was using when my vehicle was in the shop.
Okay. You want to tell me, sir, about this rental car?
I don't know what she's talking about.
That never happened.
Nope. The 2 times that we did have an accident, my insurance covered for it, and I admitted to my insurance, and they did their investigation, and they were able to confirm
Which 2 times, sir?
In December 6th and in June.
Then she rented a rental car, and you say that you didn't damage the rental car.
Nope, I did not rent any car. She was out there with her friends doing I don't know what.
Okay. The 3rd time that she's referencing is on February 9th, 2020. Do you want to tell me your version of what happened on February 9th, 2020?
Yes, I was at work, and that's it. I didn't even know anything till a week and a half after that. My insurance contacted me, and when I spoke to my insurance, they were telling me that there was being a claim being filed for that certain date. So I told the insurance where I was at, and then they did their own investigation, and they confirmed where I was at, and they said they weren't going to pay for the claim because I was at no fault.
So what 2 times did your insurance pay?
One happened in June and one happened in December. After December, we haven't been together.
Okay. What happened in June? You didn't tell me what happened in June.
Yeah.
She's not claiming June.
June is when she scratched me. And in December, I was at work. She had gone to my job, and then she was going to the welfare office, supposedly right after that. Well, she didn't know I was driving home when I bumped into her in a street, in one of the back streets, and she was with a guy in her vehicle. So I started following her, and then she was going real fast, and I was following her behind her because I wanted her to stop because I had finally caught her cheating. So she hit the brakes out of nowhere, and I smashed into the back of her car. And I tried to dodge it out, but I couldn't. So my insurance paid for that.
And that was in June?
That was in December. The second one was in December. The first one was in June when she scratched my face.
Okay, now why don't you tell me your version of what happened on February 9th?
I was outside my house, my front yard, and I hear the sound of his truck. So I look out the window, and it's him.
Hold on one second, but just one second. Just 1 second. Is that your son here?
Yes.
I'd like him to step out while you're testifying. And is that your boyfriend?
Yes.
I'd like him to step out while you're testifying. Okay, you're outside with your boyfriend and your son in the yard cleaning up, and?
I walk in my house to get something to drink for all three of us. My mother's inside dying. I hear his truck, so I look out the window, and it's him pulling up, and I tell him, what do you want? Get out of here. And he said, I told you.
Just a second. Joe, up. You're inside.
Yes.
You heard his truck from inside. In what room were you inside?
I was in the living room.
Okay. And you heard something, and is there a window in the living room that you saw his truck? Did you open the door?
I opened the curtain.
You opened the curtain, and you saw his truck?
Yes.
What did you do next?
I look out the window, I opened the curtain, and I said, what do you want? Get out of here.
And where is the boyfriend? When you're saying this?
He's outside with my son.
Just a second. So between you, because you're inside the house, and the defendant who's in the street, they're in between you?
Yes.
Okay, and you yelled, what are you doing here? And he said?
I told you I was going to... And I said, get out of here. And I don't know why, what got into him. And he said, I'm not going to leave you alone, and I'm going to... up like I said I was. And that's when he rammed his truck into my vehicle. And when I was running out, he took off.
And you have a police report about that?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
That's all they gave me.
That doesn't say anything about a car.
Yes, I know.
That you're a victim of domestic violence and sex assault.
Yes, that's all the officer gave me, and he said that if they catch him...
Don't tell me what the officer said to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They were kind of arguing.
Tell me what you heard. You were right there.
She was telling him to, like, pretty much leave, and he was, like, cussing and saying, oh, you're disrespecting me, and and then he hit the truck.
Daniela Hernandez says, X her vehicle.
Now, would you bring just the boyfriend in, please? Mr. Martinez, do you recall the events of February 9th of this year?
Yes.
Do you remember at about what time you and Miss Hernandez's son, take your hands out of your pockets, do you remember what time you and Miss Hernandez's son were outside doing yard work?
It was about 10 in the morning.
I'd like you to tell me exactly what you recall happened, sir.
Okay, we were cleaning...
You're outside with Miss Hernandez and her 14-year-old son.
Correct.
Okay, go.
Okay, we were picking up all the grass and putting it in the bags, and as we're walking up into the house, she heard the truck.
Who's we?
I mean, Aaron, her son.
And where was Miss Hernandez?
At that time, she was, like, between the front door and the middle of the yard of the house.
Okay, so she was between the front door and the lawn?
Yeah, pretty much in front of the door.
I want you to tell me exactly where she was. Was she in front of the door of the house?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure, because then she told us to come inside. We're going inside because I guess she heard his truck. And that's when we were about to go inside, and that's when he pulled. The son was still in the yard. And then I was actually about to walk in the house, like almost like a foot in the door. And that's when he reversed back and hit the car. And then I went inside, and then Aaron was still in the driveway, like about 5 feet from her car, where it got hit. And then he sped off.
So she was outside talking to him?
They were kind of arguing.
Tell me what you heard. You were right there.
Yeah.
So tell me what you heard.
She was telling him to, like, pretty much leave, and he was, like, cussing and saying, oh, you're disrespecting me, and then he hit the truck.
Okay. Why don't you have a seat? Berg, would you bring in the young man, please? What is his first name?
Aaron.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He reversed into her car and took off.
Did you ask him when you saw him again why he hit your mom's car?
I asked him one time through text, and he said that we're gonna have to talk about that in person.
How do you think her car got damaged, Mr. Nieves?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Daniela Hernandez claims ex-boyfriend Luis Nieves purposely rammed her vehicle.
Now, Berg, would you bring in the young man, please? What is his first name?
Aaron.
Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning.
Aaron, do you remember February 9th, the incident that happened when you were outside raking the grass and cutting the grass with Dominic?
Yes, I do.
Okay, do you remember about what time that happened?
It was like early in the morning, around 12.
You have to speak up.
It was around 12.
Around
12.
12 o'clock?
Yeah.
And who was outside?
My mom, me, and Dominic.
Tell me what happened.
My dad pulled up, he went up the street, and then he came back down. And I was outside with my mom, and when he was going down, he hit the brakes, and he yelled at my mom, I told you I'm gonna... Can I say the words? Is it? Or...
Whatever. He said bad things. No, you don't have to.
Okay.
He said bad things to your mom.
Yeah, he said that, and then he reversed into her car and took off.
Okay. And did it damage her car? Did you see damage to the car?
Yes, on her right door.
Okay. Aaron, have you seen your dad since that day?
Yes, I have.
Did you ask him when you saw him again why he hit your mom's car?
I asked him one time through text, and he said that we're going to have to talk about that in person. And ever since, I just forgot about it.
So you didn't speak to him again about it?
No.
Okay. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
How do you think her car got damaged, Mr. Nieves?
I have no clue, to be honest.
Okay. Now, Ms. Hernandez, this is a 2017 Kia Optima that you had. Is that right?
Yes.
When did you buy it?
July 2nd, 2017.
So you bought it new?
Yes.
It's financed, correct?
Yes, I'm leasing it. I'm going to purchase it, actually. I'm buying the car.
You're going to buy it out?
Yes.
Were you leasing it in February?
Yes.
Okay. If you have a leased car, you are required to maintain collision insurance.
Yes.
And you maintain collision insurance. Did you have the car fixed?
In February?
In February or March or April or May
I didn't
or
get
June.
it fixed.
Why not?
Because I don't have the money, and I don't think I should pay for it.
What I'm saying to you, Ms. Hernandez, you are required under the terms of a lease to maintain insurance, including collision. Not just liability, but collision. Are you telling me that you didn't pay the insurance as you were supposed to?
And I did. I had. Why should I pay for it if I didn't?
You're not paying for it. Your insurance is paying for it. Fix the car. Your insurance company is paying for it. Now, if you show me that you have a policy that requires a $500 deductible, I would absolutely charge Mr. Nieves that $500 if you fix the car. But I have no idea why you didn't, since February, have your car fixed, since you had full coverage. It's not coming out of your pocket. You are required to have insurance. Goodbye. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You sold that business to the defendants. For how much?
$800,000.
What proof do you have that she libeled, slandered you, and caused you to lose business?
Next Judge Judy.
I don't know. I wanted to be in good terms with him, but...
She's done so much to me in the past, and everybody knows it.
He snaps out of it and just decides to... I mean, it's a history. This is not the first time.
In my family, that's why I didn't bring no witnesses or anything. I didn't need them.
Like, he made it a hobby to be crashing my car for no reason.
She's just out to get me because I have a lot of money, she says.
He's got money to buy cars out of. Maybe he should give me money to pay my car or just, fix my car at least.
I don't want nothing with her.
I don't ever want to see him around my house.
I've been staying away from her. I have a new relationship, and I'm happy.
He wants to see his kids. He could pick them up somewhere else, but I don't want to see him by my house at all.
fast does your scooter go?
38 miles an hour.
Terror on two wheels?
You could sort of scoot right down the middle lane. Ooh, zipping right along. That's frightening.
And the victims were piling up.
You on your electric scooter collided with the pedestrian. The scooter flipped in the air and hit his car.
This is Judge Judy. Motorist Linus Lee is suing Christopher Peterson for damaging his car when he hit it, riding his scooter.
Yeah, it's case number 36 on the calendar in the matter of Lee versus Peterson. Parties have been sworn in.
Mr. Lee, according to your complaint, in February of this year, on the 11th of February, in the evening at about 6 o'clock, you were driving your car. You were driving your car in San Francisco, and there was a lot of traffic. Is that right?
Correct.
Were you on your way home from work?
No.
Did you have a passenger?
Yes, I do.
When this accident occurred, you had a passenger in your car?
Yes, I did.
What kind of car do you have, sir?
I 2007 Camry.
And how long have you been driving Uber?
A couple of years.
Do you do it every day, or do you have another job?
I do it every day.
Is that your sole source of income?
For now, yes.
Was it in February?
Yes.
Was it in January?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on the same date, the defendant was driving an electric scooter. According to you, there was an accident, and the defendant's scooter damaged your car.
Correct.
You want to be compensated not only for the damage, but you had to have the car fixed, and the car was out for a period of time, and you want your lost income as a result of the accident. Defendant says it was somebody else's fault. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Peterson. Since there is no issue that on the date of this incident, your scooter collided with the plaintiff's car. I read your answer. So there's no issue with regard to that, correct?
Correct.
And there is also no issue that the plaintiff's car did not hit your scooter, but your scooter hit his car,
That
correct?
is correct. Yep, absolutely.
And there is also no issue that you saw damage to his car as a result of your offense is that the accident was caused by a jaywalking pedestrian who you tried to avoid but were unable to avoid. You on your electric scooter collided with the pedestrian. As a result of that, you were knocked off the scooter. The scooter flipped in the air and hit his car. Is that what happened, Mr. Lee?
Correct.
So facts are relatively easy. Now all we have to put is flesh on the bones. How fast does your scooter go, Mr. Peterson?
It goes...
What is the top speed it goes?
30,
Top speed.
38 miles an hour.
That's pretty fast. Now, the traffic at the time of this incident, according to both of you, was bumper to bumper, moving very, very slowly.
Yes.
And you were traveling in the opposite direction from the plaintiff's car.
That's correct.
And you were, according to your answer, frustrated with the stalled traffic, so decided to, what do they call it?
I believe it's called lane splitting.
Lane splitting. And lane splitting, I gather from where you were, was you went in between the cars going in the opposite direction. So you were going in the opposite direction from the plaintiff, but right next to the plaintiff, there were cars going in the opposite direction of him, and you yellow line.
That is
lane
correct.
splitting.
Lane splitting. You got it.
And I would assume that when you were riding your scooter, there was a time when you ride your scooter in the same direction as traffic, which I assume since bicycles must do, so must scooters, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And that you were frustrated because they were going so slowly and certainly no threat to you because they weren't whizzing by, right?
That's right.
You could sort of scoot right down the middle lanes, right?
Safely scoot on the middle lanes. That's right.
Safe to say you were scooting. How fast would you estimate you were going while you were scooting?
Approximately 15 miles an hour.
Okay. Now, how fast do you think the pedestrian was walking who was jaywalking?
I would estimate that he was walking at about 2.5 miles an hour.
Okay. So if something is traveling 15 miles an hour, hits that's on a vehicle, because your scooter is a vehicle. It is not your feet. So if it's not your feet and if it has the capability of traveling up to 38 miles an hour, it's a vehicle. How much damage do you think you can do if you hit that pedestrian and made a different sort of a contact.
There definitely could be
Substantial.
damage. Yeah, it would be substantial. Yeah.
Definitely could be damage. I know what it's like when, we all come to our respective jobs with a certain amount of human experience in our minds. And some things are the law and some things are factual. So I'll get to the law in a minute. But right now it's factual. And I know if I'm walking in the street and bicyclists are supposed to be in the street rather than on the sidewalk, and they feel safer on the sidewalk rather than in the street with cars, they feel safer. But the pedestrians on the sidewalk, when they're walking with other people that are maybe walking at a comfortable, easy pace, and something comes zipping by at 15 miles an hour on the sidewalk, that's frightening.
Indeed.
Indeed, indeed, it is. So when you decided to take a risk and lane split, you had to be cautious enough to anticipate that someone, a child, a dog, might dart out into traffic, and we're talking about nighttime, right? Might dart out into traffic, and you, traveling at 15 miles an hour or better, could have caused some serious injury. Just as that, especially if they're taking a shortcut, that something that they didn't anticipate would happen. So what you want me to say is the pedestrian caused the accident, not me, right? That's what you want me to say. And therefore, Mr. Lee should have found the pedestrian that caused the accident and sued him. That's what you want me to say.
That's correct.
And what I'm saying to you is, since you were also in a position to speak to the pedestrian, right? That's what you say in your answer. Right? Well, that's a yes or a no. You say in your answer you spoke to the pedestrian because you got knocked off and he got knocked off. You both spoke to each other and made sure that you were both okay.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. We both fell, and the
Yes.
first thing I said is, "Are you okay?"
Right. Because if he wasn't okay, I guarantee you he would sue you. He wouldn't sue Mr. Lee. He would sue you because you chose to lane split, go 15 miles an hour where he was not anticipating, or better, your scooter was going to be lane splitting. The pedestrian saw that traffic was at a standstill and figured it was okay to cross the street, okay? So this is what you can do. Since I assume you didn't get the name and address of the pedestrian, did you?
No.
Well, that's your fault. Because what you could have done if Mr. Lee sues you, your scooter hit his car. That we all agree on. So if Mr. Lee sues you, you have the right under the law to implead the pedestrian and say, listen, if I'm responsible to Mr. Lee because my scooter was the vehicle that caused damage to his car, I'm going to bring into this case the pedestrian because it was really his fault. Because if I have to pay Mr. Lee, the pedestrian has to pay me. Why is that Mr. Lee's obligation to do? That's your obligation to do. You exchanged information with him, correct? That's how you're here.
Correct. I anticipated being a witness to this. I did not anticipate him coming after me.
Well, yeah, just the same way, Mr. Peterson, that you didn't anticipate that somebody might be walking in between cars in dead stop traffic at 6 o'clock at night when it was dark and decided to lane split. You anticipated wrong, that he was going to sue the pedestrian and not the person whose vehicle struck his. Okay, can I see pictures of your car, sir?
Yes. I have a video too.
I'd like to see it. How did you get a video?
I got a dash cam.
Oh, you have a dash cam?
Correct.
Ooh, zipping right along. Who were you scootering with, sir?
I was scootering with myself, and yeah.
Would you play that again? There was nobody else there? I thought that I saw two people. Maybe I missed it. Go ahead. Oh, no, I see what it was. It was a reflection from the other car. Yes, you were actually zipping right along. Can I see the damage to your car, sir, which he is responsible for?
This is the first one.
I see one. You say you have two?
I got three.
I'd like to see all three.
These are the scratches from the scooter.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. This is the last one. This is damage
Oh,
here.
well, that one's substantial.
Correct.
That one's substantial. Did you have it fixed?
Not yet.
Can I see the estimates to fix it, please?
Yes. This is the first
Thank you.
page. The second page.
I just want to see the total. Okay. Anything else?
Yes. This is the third page.
Yeah, you're going a little overboard, Mr. Lee. Now, are you still driving Uber or are you doing anything else, sir?
I'm still driving Uber, but since I've spoken to before I came here, so this is not the exact amount that I'm suing for. Now it's reduced.
Mr. Lee, that's not my question to you. I asked you, do you have another job other
No,
than Uber?
I don't.
Now.
No.
Now, since this incident happened, Mr. Lee, which was in February, and you were driving your 13-year-old Camry,
Yes.
how much money did you make every day since February?
Average every day I make about $250 to $300. That is I gross. Sometimes a little bit over 300.
And you were able to make $250 or $300 a day despite your scratched car?
Yes.
Yes, right?
Yes.
Just give me a second, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
She came home from school while the plaintiff was living there, and so you and your daughter were sleeping in the living room.
We were sleeping in our dining room.
Dining room, living room, whatever it was. It was not the way it was when Miss Barnett came there.
motorist Linus Lee claims Christopher Peterson was splitting lanes on his scooter when he ran into his car.
The average price of a 2003 Camry like yours is about $3,500. I don't know how much mileage you have on your car, but I think it would probably be a mistake to spend more than $2,000 to fix it. I certainly wouldn't spend $4,000 to fix a car that you could buy for $3,500. And I think that if you took this car in to have the scratches taken out, which are the first two pictures, and the other one, you could probably do that in 2 days. Whether you could or whether you could not, I'm awarding you $2,500. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Case is concluded. You are excused.
No, I was, safely lane splitting. I'm a big fan of micro-mobility.
I waited for him to contact me for 14 days, but he did not, so I sued him.
And this guy came out of, nowhere, slammed on the brakes.
It's his business, none of my business.
Tried to minimize all damage, so made sure he was okay right away. It was just an unfortunate event.
Yes, I gotta get my car fixed.
I believe that all of the blame fundamentally lies with the jaywalking pedestrian.
All parties in the matter of Barnett versus Brown. Step to the podium, please.
Ted Barnett and his daughter, 21-year-old Claire, for the return of rent and a security deposit.
Mr. Barnett, this is your daughter, and she decided to transfer schools. She's a full-time student. That was in December of last year. She needed a place to stay, and I assume you answered an ad on the internet or through a realtor because Miss Brown was renting a room in her home, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The cost of the room was $1,300 a month. I assume that Miss Barnett, you had kitchen privileges and all the other things that go with having a room in a house. How large a house was it?
I'm not sure exactly the square footage, but it was a one-bedroom apartment.
So you rented the bedroom?
Yes, I rented the one bedroom.
And where did Miss Brown sleep?
She slept in a bed in the living room.
Miss Brown, had you used the bedroom as your bedroom prior to Miss Barnett moving in?
Yes, I did. And my apartment is pretty large, so I was able to partition off.
No, don't tell me it's pretty large. I asked you a specific question. Did you, in fact, use the bedroom before you rented the room to Miss Barnett?
Yes.
And before you rented the room to Miss Barnett, who lived with you?
My daughter lived with me I'm going to say when I first signed the lease, she lived with me.
She rented the... Just 1 second.
Continues in a moment.
Your daughter came home from school and stayed.
And brought a dog.
She studied remotely.
They knew the dog was there.
Just a second. Mr. Barnett, I didn't ask you anything. And if you're winning, I would tell you it's a good time to keep your mouth shut.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ted Barnett and his daughter Claire say Claire's former roommate, Lisa Brown, is withholding her security deposit. Lisa is countersuing for unpaid rent.
Now, Miss Barnett saw the room in December, signed a lease. In December, where was your daughter living?
She was in East Coast. She did not live with me.
And when, immediately prior to December of 2019, when did your daughter live with you, if she ever did?
She lived with me for the month of May until August of 2019.
May, so from May until August?
Yes.
And prior to May, she didn't live with you?
No, prior to May, she did not live with me.
She lived with you for about, she was what?
She's a student at San Francisco State.
Okay. So she was a student and she lived with you during the summer.
Yes.
And then she went back to school. So you moved in, signed a lease, and it's not a very difficult case. As here, we have a global pandemic, and most students were learning remotely by March. Correct, Ms. Barnett?
Correct.
And that includes your daughter.
Correct.
Because she came home from school in December while the plaintiff was living there, or she came home as a result of the pandemic and stayed.
She did stay.
She stayed.
Yes.
And so the two of you now, you and your daughter, were sleeping in the living room.
We were sleeping in our dining room.
Dining room, living room, whatever it was. It was not the way it was when Miss Barnett came there.
Yes.
Now, how many bathrooms are there in the house, Miss Barnett?
There's one bathroom.
Okay, so this is a very easy case. I'm going to get to it. You left to move back home. There is no question in my mind that either you or you and your daughter moved back to the bedroom. You didn't get another boarder in the house.
Well, due to the COVID situation.
You want your security deposit back.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what the case is about. Now, your property was there until the end of March 22nd. So you wanted a pro rata part of your rent for March. That you can't get. But unless you're prepared to tell me that she damaged something in the house, she gets her security deposit back, Ms. Brown. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor. There was actually in the lease that she signed, there was a section, and it's there, that says that if the lease was a fee of $1,300, that would be charged.
Okay, so I'm going to answer your question. It's very simple.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
When Miss Barnett rented the house, the room in your house with one bathroom, the intention was, and your intention was, that two people would be using that bathroom, two people would be using the kitchen, two people, not three. As a result of the pandemic, things changed. And one of the things that's changed is 1/3 of the bathroom was now being used by your daughter. 1/3 of the kitchen was now being used by your daughter. All consequences as unintended consequences of the pandemic. Your daughter came home from school and stayed.
And brought a dog.
She studied remotely.
They knew the dog was there.
Just a second. Mr. Barnett, I didn't ask you anything. And if you're winning, I would tell you it's a good time to keep your mouth shut.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300.
Ma'am, I have a countersuit as well.
It's dismissed. I just told you. It's dismissed. You have to return her security deposit. Is your daughter still living home?
Well, she was there
Is
at
your
home.
daughter? My question is Bye. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, did she take the money and run?
You did not rebuild the house. Do you get where I'm going, Miss Cassis?
No.
I have all the answers.
Next Judge Judy.
I actually rented the room, and she had full access to the room.
You know, me and Lisa and her daughter, we all had a very pleasant time living together.
And my daughter was not there and was not supposed to be there. Something happened. She had to come home.
So no animosity towards either of them at all.
And that never changed any portion of the room.
But, you know, what's fair is fair.
As well as her access to the apartment.
So I'm also glad that Judge Judy saw.
No, it's just me and my daughter due to COVID.
Yeah, just ready to get back into school.
a fitness instructor's questionable technique.
The agreement was I would collect payment at the end of the classes.
That's not a way to do business.
I thought I could trust her.
Now,
We never completed the sessions.
logic gets a workout.
What justification is there for you not to pay her any money?
She was late. Half the classes weren't even 2 hours.
She probably doesn't understand what she's trying to say.
This is Judge Judy. Zumba instructor Taylor Coco Patterson is suing former student Nikki Herrera for the cost of classes.
Judge's case number 94 on the calendar in the matter of Patterson versus Herrera. The parties have been sworn in, Your Honor.
Ms. Patterson, you allege that you had a contract with the defendant, and that contract provided that she was going to pay $2,000 for private dance classes that you were going to provide her. Those dance classes were Zumba classes. That's a very active form. I wasn't very good at it, but I am familiar with it. How long have you been a Zumba instructor?
For approximately 5 years.
Do you give private lessons as well as lessons for groups?
Yes.
Ms. Herrera, how did you find Ms. Patterson? Who referred you to her?
I actually found her on Instagram. A few people I saw on my timeline had already booked her, and so I just reached out to them.
In what month and year did you reach out to her?
It was January of 2020.
How far away does she live from you?
About 2 hours.
It's a 2-hour drive?
With traffic, yes.
What was the contract you made with her?
So the contract that I made with Taylor was actually for 10 Zumba private classes for the $2,000.
When were they supposed to start?
January 30th of 2020.
Was that a weekend or a weekday?
It was a weekday. Our first class was a weekday.
So you had a round trip of 4 hours on that day?
Correct.
So you went to the first class?
I did.
Did you go to a second class?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
I can't remember the exact date, but it was supposed to be on Thursdays and Saturdays. My first class was on a Thursday, and then the second class was that Saturday.
What was the second date she went for a class, Ms. Patterson?
Well, the first date was January 30th. The second date would have been Saturday.
You went one day right after another?
No, it wasn't going to be like that. It was like 2 days a week, typically Thursdays and Saturdays, because those were days that we agreed upon that we would both be available.
Did she attend the class on February 1st?
Yes.
And there were supposed to be 10 of these classes for $2,000. Is that right?
Yes, 2-hour classes, 10 2-hour classes, yes.
Now, you had never met her before, so could you explain to me, as somebody who's been in the business for 4 or 5 years, and since you never met her before, could you explain to me why you didn't, as people usually do in this kind of business when they do classes, you want to take 10 classes, great, it's $2,000. You pay up front and then you eat off whatever it is. You not only didn't ask for any money up front, but she didn't even pay you when she came, at least the first 2 classes. You want to explain that to me?
Yes, because the agreement was, number one, the first reason is she was referred by a longtime client of mine.
Well, that's what you say. That's not what she says. She says that she found you through Instagram.
Through a client of mine.
You may have.
So a client that
That's not what she said.
Well, she probably doesn't understand what she's trying to say. A human being referred her to me. So she may have reached out to that human being. That human being reached out to me and then vouched for her as a pearl. So that's number one. Number two.
Well, she says she got you via Instagram.
But Instagram is
and
like
she
friends.
Got you via
you have
Instagram
friends
from
on Instagram.
Somebody.
Yeah.
I understand that. I understand that. So she found it on her Instagram. Somebody that she knew had taken classes from you. That person contacted you.
Yes.
And that's how you got together.
Yes.
Okay. But she found you on Instagram.
Through a friend, through a mutual friend.
Another person who she was
friends with,
connected to on Instagram.
Who had taken my classes.
You don't necessarily have to be a friend to somebody who's on Instagram. You know, people have 967 people.
Right.
I think I know 967 people in my whole life that I would send a photograph to.
Try 30,000.
Anyway, do you want to try to explain to me why you didn't take any money from her the first 2 classes?
Because the agreement was that I would collect payment at the end of the classes. And, you know, me being...
But that's not a way to do business. Nobody does business like that in the training business. No trainer comes in and says, you do your class.
I do. I have worked with trainers before who I have not paid up front, who have collected from me at the end. So it might not have been the wisest decision. Hindsight is 20/20 vision, you know. but it was the decision I made. I was trying to be friendly to her. I have other people who have paid in this same exact manner. I had no problems collecting payment. The classes are worth it. They were good. So the person who referred her was someone I also trusted. So I thought it would be okay this time around.
What's the name of the person who referred you?
Summer.
Summer what?
I only know her first name is Summer. She's not someone I wouldn't know her last name. Instagram is typically Instagram name, first name, but she's my client.
You said she was a very good client of yours.
She was, but I know her as Summer.
You say in your complaint she was referred to me
by a longtime client.
By a longtime client.
Yes. But
whose last name you don't know?
No, you know how many people I know? I don't know their last names. No. I'm sorry.
Well, if you look in your phone, how would you list Summer if she was a longtime client, if you had to get in touch with her?
Summer Bunny.
So find it in your phone.
It's on my Instagram.
Well, your Instagram is also on your phone.
Right, but what do you want me to do?
Well, if she was a longtime client, let me ask you this question, madam. If you want me to fully understand you.
Okay.
If you had a longtime client whose name was Summer, whose last name you don't know.
Right.
But you got sick and you had to call them or notify them not to come to the class because you were sick, as you were sick a couple of times when she was supposed to take classes, how would you get in touch with Summer?
Two ways. Either instant to that with Instagram, but I would text her on Instagram. I would send her a DM on Instagram and let her know that I wasn't feeling well and I wasn't going to be able to make it. And that's how I would reach her. And she might not reply back.
All I want you to do is take out your phone.
Yes.
And show me on Instagram show me, text Summer. And show me that goes through on Instagram. I'm here doing a case with a person you referred to me. I just would like to see it.
No worries.
To Summer.
Oh, here she is. So should I sit it here?
Yes, please.
All right. So I'm going to sit my phone here. So unfortunately, you're going to see other messages I've sent to Summer. But this is her profile.
Great. Okay. Now that you've found this, can you find me possibly where you have any communication about the defendant with Summer?
Oh, no, we had verbal conversations. Like at the end of a class, I spoke with her and she mentioned her to me. And also by way of just phone call.
Phone call?
Yeah, phone call or either a class.
Phone call. Well, also
but she and I, we were doing a class together. No. We were doing a class together, and that's where she mentioned her.
Okay. How many classes in total prior to the pandemic did Miss Herrera take from you?
Say 8. Approximately, we complete. No, not approximate, but 8 classes.
Is that correct? How many round trips did you make to her house?
I took 7 classes. She missed the last 3.
No, I missed 2.
It was 3.
I missed 2.
She missed the last 3.
Okay. Did you pay her for those classes?
No.
Why?
Well, I was supposed to pay her at the end of our session, our 10 sessions. We never completed the sessions to even do that. She just sent me an invoice.
So you don't think that because you took 7 2-hour classes with her, you have any responsibility to pay her?
No, because they weren't even the full classes. She was late. Half the classes weren't even 2 hours. And she didn't, so I don't understand why am I paying for classes that weren't complete?
You have a piece of paper there.
Mm-hmm.
What is that piece of paper?
These are my notes.
What are those 2 pieces of paper?
These are my notes, and this is the invoice. And then one of our text messages that I found. I have a new phone and number, so this was just the last that I had.
Okay. I'd like to see the invoice she sent you. Well, what is that? That is a nothing. Take that away. That's a nothing that somebody made up. Okay. Now let me see the text message. What is this? I'm staying that Friday, leaving on Saturday. Is those messages from her?
So this is my message here. This first message, she missed a lot of...
I'll be there Friday.
Correct. She missed she missed classes, and she was supposed to, let me know when we can make them up. So I was messaging her, letting her know I was going to be in her city this day, but I was not staying. And so I just let her know I was going to be here to see if maybe we can, get together for a class. And she said yes, but it just took her forever to respond.
Unless you need me. Delayed response. I'm preparing for you. Yes, we can get together Saturday Afternoon. Also, what about your friend? What's the friend?
She asked me a while back if I knew anyone who did hair, and I sent her the person's name or whatever, and that was it. But they didn't respond back to her, so I think that's what she was responding, like, what happened to your friend? But I called her because it takes her forever to even respond to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I just feel like I came to her classes. I'm driving 2 hours. Half the time, she's late to every class. Why am I paying you for a class and you're not even giving me the full
So why
hours?
didn't you just say, I'm not coming anymore?
And later today.
Why don't you sue him? He sold the salon.
Because I have no idea where.
He sold the salon.
I have no idea.
Zumba instructor Taylor Coco Patterson claims former student Nikki Herrera owes for classes.
Okay, I'm going to take your figure that you took 7 classes. It still means that you owe her $1,400. How can you not pay her anything? What justification do you have? And this is the end of February when you've already taken, according to you, most, if not all, of the classes that you took. What justification is there for you not to pay her any money?
Okay, first and foremost, Your Honor, I just feel like I came to her classes. I'm driving 2 hours. We get there, half the time she's late to every class. The class is only 2 hours. Why am I paying you for a full class, and you're not even giving me the full
So why
hours?
didn't you just say, I'm not coming anymore?
Well, I did later
Why
on
didn't you
in
just say, I'm not coming anymore? I'm not making a 4-hour trip if you're going to be late.
Well, Your Honor, that's kind of why I kind of just stopped, going to the classes, the last few classes.
Well, that's okay, but then you stop and you pay her. You don't stop and don't pay her.
So I'm going to pay her for
That's
classes
irresponsible.
that didn't get completed? That doesn't make sense.
It makes perfect sense to me. If you took the class, if you said to her, sorry, you're a half hour late, and if you say it happened the first time, she would say, this is not working out for me. I'm going to pay you for the class that I took, or the 2 classes that I took, but I'm not coming back here. I'm not making a 4-hour round trip if you're going to be disrespectful of my time and come a half hour late.
I've spoke to her.
And you spoke to her, but you continued to come. You're ridiculous.
I mean, I figured she would change
Pay
up
for the
and-
classes. I'm not giving you the $2,000 that you want. I don't think you're entitled to money that you didn't earn, but you did do some work.
I did work.
$1,400 cover the hourly?
Yes.
$1,400. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I don't agree with it, but I respect it.
I could have done a better job about collecting payment up front.
It is what it is. I just know not to do business with her again.
She wanted to work on the booty. She wanted to get her booty right.
I had a young man, so I was trying to get my groove back.
Money up front from now on out. You can't trust anyone.
All parties in the matter of Ernst Palmer versus Trivedi Abus Yunus. Step to the podium, please.
Joyette Ernst Palmer is suing Ravi Trivedi and Rabi Abu Yunus for property left behind at a salon they purchased.
Ernst Palmer?
Yes.
Your business is or was in a tanning salon, and you had your own tanning salon piece of equipment.
Yes, I was a mobile service, and this was
Your machine to a salon.
Correct.
They had nothing to do with the salon that you brought your machine to. Who was the owner of the salon that you brought your machine to?
The owner was Asfer. It was under previous ownership when I was originally hired back in May of 2019.
Okay. Now, at some point, you agreed to sell your mobile unit to Mr. Asfar.
Correct.
For $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you make that agreement with Mr. Asfar?
I made it on January 21st of 2020.
And he paid you for the unit, according to your complaint, $660.
Correct, in increments.
And Mr. Asfar had a balance of $340.
Correct.
That he owed you.
Yes.
On the machine.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you were whole. And then Mr. Asfar sold the salon to these 2 gentlemen.
Correct.
That was when? When did you purchase the salon? Month and year?
February 6th, 2020.
When they purchased the salon, did you advise them that the piece of equipment had a balance due of $340?
Yes, I did.
Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
Did she at any time tell you that she had purchased the salon?
No, we were not aware of any prior agreement whatsoever.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Okay, so when did you have a conversation with either one of the two defendants?
I spoke with Robbie. It was in March because I was still waiting for the rest of the money from Mr. S4. And I told him
Yes.
I'm still owed $340 for my equipment.
So
and
why don't you, just a second, why don't you sue him? He sold the salon.
Because I have no idea where...
He sold the salon. Whether you had...
I have no idea where he is.
Well,
My
that's
personal stuff...
That's not my problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you have a lawyer?
It went through my CPA.
So your accountant had to speak to the seller's representative. Just say yes or no.
Yes,
Don't shake your head. This is audio-visual.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joyette Erst Palmer claims Ravi Trivedi and Rabi Abu Yunus owe for a tanning machine and personal property left behind at a salon they purchased. She is also suing for lost wages.
Okay, go ahead.
They have all my stuff.
No, they
also
have none of your stuff. No.
They have it in the salon. He wouldn't let me take it.
No, listen to me. Because COVID struck, he got rid of all the towels, and he purchased the shop. Listen, there's no question that they have a contract that they're going to show me. Is that correct? That you purchased the shop and all the stuff in the shop?
That's correct.
You want to put that up there? Good. Just point to the area in the purchase agreement where you purchase everything that's in the salon.
Yes. So we have the excluded liabilities and assumed liabilities.
Oh, well, that's an interesting thing. So, Mr. Ersprammer.
Yes.
Your lawsuit is against Mr. Asfor, not the defendants. You've been paid $660 for your tanning machine on a $1,000 purchase price. Mr. Asfor owes you $340.
Correct.
Not the defendants.
Along with they have my stuff, though, in the salon. I never agreed to sell my personal stuff, just the machine.
Just for my own information, what personal stuff are you talking about?
I brought 2 sheets with me. I brought hair accessories.
I'm not interested in sheets. Not interested in your hair accessory. What's next? Come on.
That is my
You're being
personal
foolish
stuff
with me.
that is my personal stuff
Okay.
that I purchased and I brought from home.
Do you have any of that stuff? Do you have 2 sheets and hair accessories is my question.
We do not have it anything. It
They
was
don't
never
have it.
there.
What's next? Just a second. I don't care. I just want to know if you, I'm just asking if you have her 2 sheets or you, so what else? You're suing the wrong people for your tanning machine. You have to find and sue Mr. Asfor, and maybe they can even help you locate him because they paid him $33,000. So they, right? You paid $33,000 for the business?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm sure you have a bank account that you had to pay the money to, unless you paid him in cash. Did you pay him in cash?
We paid via the cashier's check.
Did you have a lawyer on this sale of the business? Did you have a lawyer?
It went through my CPA. We didn't go through the lawyer.
Fine, so you have an accountant.
Yes, ma'am.
So your accountant had to speak to the seller's representative. Just say yes or no.
Yes,
Don't shake
ma'am.
your head.
Yes,
This is, you know, audio-visual.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, I'm directing you to make available to the plaintiff any information that you have that will enable her to locate Mr. Asfor for her $340. Do you understand?
That's correct. We do have his driving license and it has his address. She could reach out.
Perfect.
I have all my stuff, and I lost wages. I had clients calling.
We're done. They don't owe you a thing. Mr. Asfor owes you $340. Find him. They're going to give you his driver's
What
license.
about
We're finished.
What about my other stuff that's there? If they don't have it, don't they owe me?
No, they owe you nothing.
I'm not owed the money to
They owe you
repurchase?
nothing. They owe you nothing. They don't owe you for your 2 sheets or your hair accessories. We're finished.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, a party planner didn't pay her bills.
I never received a billing.
We're not going to be able to come to a resolution in this case unless we cut out the baloney.
Next Judge Judy.
I think it was straight to the point and justice was served.
I will be contacting the previous owner.
Get ready to back to business. Yes, please.
Time to get back to business.
suspicions at the groomer.
I thought it was unusual that she wanted to rush me out with both dogs at the same time.
Then,
What happened when you got home?
There was blood.
a dog owner's shock.
It was a little gruesome. There was a piece of tail missing. It was like...
Marley had to have most of his tail amputated.
This is Judge Judy. Brenda Cornejo is suing dog groomer Diane Layton for vet bills and damages resulting from injuries to her dog, Marley.
Judge, this is case number 84 on the calendar in the matter of Cornejo versus Layton. Parties have been sworn in. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Thanks, Bird. Miss Cornejo, this lovely animal is your dog. How old is the dog?
Marley is almost 7.
Have you had him?
I've had him. I adopted
You adopted him when?
It was June 16.
So you've had him about 4 years, a little over 4 years. Do you have any other dogs?
I do. I have a beautiful German Shepherd. She's a female. Her name is Penny. And they get along really well.
The defendant is a dog groomer, and from your papers, it appears as if you've used her in the past. Have you used her for both dogs in the past, or just this dog's name is Marley?
This is Marley. I've used her for both of my dogs because I would take them together.
Since at least 2016?
Correct.
How often do you take Marley to be groomed?
He gets groomed professionally about every, I would say, 2 to 3 months. It just depends on, how dirty he gets. But
other than this incident, which brings you to court today, you've been satisfied with her work?
Yes.
Now, according to your complaint, there did come a time, this is the last time that you took Marley to the defendant, that there was an issue.
Yes.
On what date was the last time that you took him for grooming by the defendant?
Yeah, so he was last groomed by Diane Layton on July 21st, 2020.
Prior to July 21st of 2020, had you noticed any injury to the dog's tail?
Absolutely
His
not.
tail, nothing.
Absolutely not.
What time, if you recall, did you take Marley into Miss Layton to be groomed?
I dropped him off. It was, I would say, around 10:30, 11. And then I picked him up a little after 4:30. And so it was a longer than usual time for them to be groomed.
Does the defendant call you to tell you it's time to come and pick up the dogs?
Yes, she has to.
And in the prior 4 years that you've been taking Marley to her for grooming, approximately how long does that grooming session take?
Approximately, let's say, like 2 hours.
So this was considerably longer.
Yes, it was unusually longer.
Will you tell me what happened when you went to pick up Marley on the 21st of July?
I got the call that the dog, and she looked nervous and asked me to take both of my dogs at the same time. And I normally take one at a time because I can't manage, the Shepherd and Marley. So I said, no, I can only take one at a time. I thought it was unusual that she wanted to rush me out with both dogs at the same time, but I said, no, I can only take one at a time. So I grabbed Marley first, and then I went from point A to point B. So the door of the grooming to my car, which was parked right in front of the shop. Right before I put him in the car, I did notice like a fresh drop of blood on the side of his body. But I looked, and there was no cut. There was nothing there. So I thought it was unusual. But then I put him in the car and went back for my other dog. And then because of the way the parking situation is located in front of her shop, there's cars waiting for you. There's only like 2 parking spaces. And so they're waiting for you to move. So
you left?
Yeah, so it was very quick.
Left. What happened when you got home?
I picked them up by myself. Usually my son accompanies me, but as soon as I got home, he was out there waiting to help me bring the dogs down. And I parked, and he took both dogs through the side of the house to the backyard. And he was playing with them outside.
Were you watching them?
I was watching him outside of the porch door, and he was playing with them there.
So you were watching?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The porch playing with the dogs, and it was momentarily, and then he screamed, and he yelled out, "Mom!" The dog's bleeding, and, he was, like scared. So I went out there, and I looked at Marley, and I couldn't believe what I saw. It was a little gruesome. There was a piece of tail, missing. It was, sliced. There was blood that apparently had restarted bleeding. There was bone and flesh. I couldn't believe it. I was in a bit of a shock, seeing my dog in this condition.
I want to go back for a moment. When you took Marley from the defendant's shop, You said you saw a drop of blood. Had you ever seen that before?
No. Because I didn't see any visible cuts on that side, I didn't know where it was coming from. Once I went outside to the porch and I assessed the dog and I saw him wagging his tail, and because the bleeding had restarted, he was, wagging the tail and flipping it to the side of his body. So, of course, the blood was coming from the tail and landing on the side of his body.
And that's why we're here, because the dog was, in fact, injured. We'll get to where and how that happened. You had substantial vet bills, and ultimately, Marley had to have most of his tail amputated. Correct. That's one other menu of excuses as to why this didn't happen as a result of her, but happened as a result of probably your neglect. So after you saw what happened, I assume you took the dog directly to your local vet, to the vet that you use.
Correct. There was no delay. So I called the vet, and unfortunately, it was almost closing time.
What did you do?
So I frantically started searching for another vet because I called my vet, and they said, we don't have any appointments.
So you found an emergency vet?
Yes.
I would just like to see the vet's report and bill. First, the report, if you would.
So they gave me this. This is what they gave me.
Okay. Did they stitch or bandage?
They did a clip and clean, and they did IV antibiotics. They placed a bandage and e-collar. They gave them
Did she go
antibiotics.
back? I can read. Did you take the dog back to another vet subsequently?
So this was the original vet visit, and we kept in touch.
Listen to me. The answer is either yes or no. Did you take the dog back to another vet or the same vet?
I took him back to the same vet until the 28th.
Okay. I would like to see the other bills and reports from the same vet.
So
this was
a recheck here for pain medication, and the rechecks aren't billed, so it's just rechecks. They gave me...
I understand. I'm reading it. Don't tell me what they said.
Okay.
And that was on what date, the 28th?
Yes.
Did you take the dog back to this vet or to your regular vet the next time?
I took him back to my regular vet as a second opinion.
On what date?
On
what date?
29th, and I have a note.
May I see it, please?
Yes. So they actually gave me an exam.
Shh, don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Sorry.
When was the next time? Just give me the date.
So he was...
Just give me the date. I see that the dog was not eating.
On the 29th of the morning was the second opinion from my vet. And then...
I see that.
And within an hour, I
took...
that.
When was the next?
On the same day. The same day his tail was amputated with surgical intervention.
At what vet?
True Care for Pets. It's an emergency pet center.
May I see the write-up and the bill for that,
yes.
please?
So this shows...
Don't tell me what it shows, just put it down. And can I see the bill for that, please?
Yes, so...
He is fine. Look, he has a shorter tail.
Yes.
Looks perfectly happy.
Yeah.
Okay, but it wasn't for a long time. All right, Miss Layton, tell me what happened on the 21st of July.
On the 21st, she came in around 11 o'clock. And we start taking our dogs in at 7 o'clock, so she was one of the last dogs we took for the day, so that's why they were there so long. I have a copy of Marley's card that we write everything on as they come in, as I do on every dog we do. And it shows Marley has been having trouble with that tail since 2018.
2018?
Yes.
And what kind of trouble has Marley been having with the tail?
We have been taking fly eggs off the end of that tail since 2018, the very tip of it.
Explain that. Look at me. You've been doing what? Explain to me what you've been doing.
When we put him in the bathtub and the big crust is there, it's full of fly eggs. So when we have him in the tub, we soak them all off, clean it all up, and each year it has progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. And she's done nothing about it up until the day that it was so bad that it really bled.
Your Honor, that's incorrect,
Okay.
and I can show you proof.
Just a second. I would like you to show me on her card, starting in 2018, where you document that.
You want 2018?
Where you document the fact that you told her that this was a problem and that she's done nothing about it. But that's the tip of the tail.
Yes.
That doesn't require any surgical removal. She had, according to you, fly eggs that were crusted, and you soaked it, and you removed the eggs and continued with the grooming.
Yes, the problem with it is when they leave the fly eggs for that long, they get a bacterial infection, and the tail will not heal without antibiotics. And it just has progressively gotten worse and worse.
Your Honor, can I show proof?
Just a second. I would like you to point to me what you're talking about. Okay, and read it to me.
Okay, August 9th of 2018 was the first time we started seeing trouble.
Tell me what it says.
It says...
Read exactly what it says in 2018.
She takes a 7 on the body, which makes the dog bald, which makes him more susceptible to flies.
Okay, no. Just read what it says.
7 everything, number 10 on muzzle. Had bloody tail.
Wait just a second. Had bloody?
Your Honor, she forged that card and I can show proof.
Just a second. I don't want to hear you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I only want you to read me what you did, not your groomer. That's hearsay. Are any of them here today?
Is their initials and their signatures.
How do I know who they are?
Brenda Cornejo is accusing dog groomer Diane Layton of lacerating her dog's tail during a grooming appointment. Brenda says the tail was amputated as a result.
Okay, read what it says, please. I can't read your handwriting.
This is one of my groomers. Had bloody tail after bath. I did not do...
Oh, no. That's it. Just a second. I only want you to read me what you did, not your groomer.
These are all what different groomers have done to Marley. Every one of these.
Just a second. Miss Layton, do these groomers still work for you?
Well, most of them. I only have 6 now because of COVID.
But most of these groomers work for you. I'm not reading what they said. That's hearsay. I can't read what they observed. Are any of them here today?
I didn't bring any. I thought the card was good enough. It has their initials and their signatures.
How do I know who they are? Maybe you wrote that. Maybe your sister wrote it. Maybe your friend wrote it.
I can show you cards.
That's the way courts work. Courts have to have witnesses that they can examine. And they can describe what you meant. That if you said you saw a bloody tail, have to be able to ask a witness. Do you understand?
I have cards on, yeah, I do, but I have cards on every dog we do, and every dog, everything is noted. Everything. That's what this catalog is.
Your Honor, can I show proof of
her
false
statement? Absolutely. I mean, I'm discarding it anyway, but if you want to tell me why it's false, you can.
So her statement is completely false because she's claiming that since 2018, he had a condition or a tail problem or supposed bleeding, which aside from the pictures that are dated from 2017 to the present of February 2020, I have my witness who has seen my dogs. Her kids have played with my dogs. They've seen him in the front yard.
Now I'll hear you witness.
Hello, Your Honor.
Tell me your name.
My name is Tia Weinstein.
Ms. Weinstein, when was the last time that you saw Marley just prior to his having his tail amputated?
Probably in February 2020 when we just have the dogs come out and play with the kids in our cul-de-sac.
How many times have you seen Marley play between 2017 and February of 2020?
Numerous times. Too many times to count.
More than 10?
Yes, more than 10, 20.
Are you neighbors?
We are neighbors.
Have you ever seen injury to the dog's tail?
Never.
Have you ever seen Marley biting or scratching or biting his tail?
No, not at all.
And between 2016 and 2020, did the plaintiff ever complain prior to July 21st about Miss Layton's care of either one of her dogs?
No, never. She's never complained about any type of grooming.
Okay, very good. Anything else either one of you want to show me?
I would like to show you some pictures of fly bites on a dog that we just did this last week.
Was it this dog?
No, it was not, but it shows you what kind of damage the fly can do.
Your Honor.
Not interested.
Can I show you? I'm sorry.
Just a second. Just a minute. I'm not interested in pictures of another dog with fly bites. What else do you have?
I just have what I sent you showing that this dog has had trouble all along.
Okay, good. What else do you want to show me?
I would
Tell
like
me
to
first
show
what it is.
you the Yelp reviews of Silmar
Thank you, Ms.
Grooming.
Weinstein. Not interested. What else?
And I have the copies of the medical expenses of what Marley went through, and the pictures of the stages of the tail in different conditions because of this accident.
Oh, well, I'd like to see pictures of the different conditions. That I would like to see.
The picture of July 21st and how it looked.
Okay.
This is a picture of how they left him patched up in different areas of his body, which tells me that they probably struggled.
Don't tell me
him.
what to tell. Don't listen to me. You want to volunteer a lot of information that you're not allowed to do. Just show me a picture. I draw my own conclusions about what the photograph represents.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So I had to lose income because of this 2-month healing process. I called in sick. I gave away shifts. I took unpaid time.
Okay. It was a terrible accident.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brenda Cornejo says dog groomer Diane Layton severely injured her dog Marley during a grooming appointment.
Okay, what are you showing me now?
This is the condition of the tail. So these are stages of how the tail progressed from the date of injury to the healing process that took about 2 months after being amputated.
Just a second. Where was the cut? Just show me where the cut was that you're alleging, because I assume.
Right here.
Now, where on the tail was that cut?
On the tip, Your Honor.
Show me the other picture. Is that when he first came home?
July 21st is this picture. This is right after grooming. This is the date of injury.
Okay.
That's July
Got
21st.
it. So that's what it looked like?
Yes.
Okay, now I got it. All right, your vet bills are $3,110.
No.
That's what I have, $400.32 and $26.78. Are there any other bills?
Yes, Your Honor.
Show me the other vet bills.
So these are all of the bills from True Care for Pets surgery. So it's that one.
What is that for?
That's a bandage light wrap.
Okay, so just a minute. That's a plus 60. Next.
And I have another 98. Then I have another 90.
Wound repair. That's on 8/12.
Then I have another 32.50.
I already added that $32 in, madam.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Want Justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, anything else?
So this is the main surgery.
I already have that.
Okay. And then there's this one.
Anything else? I have $33.58. Do you work, Ms. Corneo?
Yes, ma'am. I have 2 jobs. I'm a pediatric oncology nurse.
Just a minute. $6.78. I've got that already. Next. Come on.
Okay. Did you get this one?
Who took the dog to the vet?
I took him to the vet on all occasions. So I had to lose income because of this 2-month healing process. I called in sick. I gave away shifts. I took unpaid time.
Okay.
Etc.
It was a terrible accident. $33.58. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
The ski passes turned out to be fraudulent.
We are all in the same exact position.
You have to find the person that duped you if you were a dope that got duped.
Judge Judy.
Didn't strike one up for the groomers. We get blamed for a lot.
I think the decision was appropriate and fair.
I told them 3 separate times to get that dog to the vet, and they totally ignored it.
It's hurtful.
It happened. We didn't do it.
Take pictures before and after you drop off your dog. Inspect them thoroughly.
Groomers never win.
Marley's a happy dog, and I'm glad that he survived.
She came into me, I felt super bad.
A mechanic promised to make it right.
How much to fix your car?
He said anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000.
Where did you get the money?
It was my life savings.
Now only the judge can salvage it.
Did you fix her car?
I did not.
That means you just took her money.
No, ma'am, I was trying.
Try. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You did nothing.
This is Judge Judy. Tara Dern is suing Enrique De La Vara for the return of money she paid him to fix her car after she'd been in an accident. Tara claims Enrique didn't do any work.
Judges, case number 102 on the calendar in the matter of Dern versus De La Vara. Parties have been sworn in.
Ms. Dern, you had an accident with your car. According to you, you were rear-ended by someone, and then you went into the car in front of you. Is that what happened?
I was bumped in an accident, and the impact shocked me, and I rear-ended somebody.
You had damage to both the front and rear of your car.
Correct.
In what month and year did the accident happen?
July 27th, 2020.
According to your complaint, you had liability insurance on your car, which is a relatively new car, but did not have collision on the car. So whatever expenses were going to be, they were going to be your expenses, because what I understand from your complaint is that the person who hit you fled the scene.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Do you have a police report of that incident?
I do not.
Do you have any paperwork with regard to that incident?
I do not.
Did your insurance company pay the car that you hit?
We're still in the investigation. I do have some pictures of evidence from the accident.
No, I want to know if you have any documentation from your insurance company. Who were your insurance carriers?
Geico. I have Geico insurance.
And you had them on that date, on the date of the accident?
Yes, correct, Your Honor.
Well, you hit the car in front of you. Did you give that car owner your insurance information?
Yes.
Were you contacted by Geico?
Yes.
Did Geico settle that claim?
It's still being under investigation.
Do you have any letters from Geico back and forth?
Not with me, but I have received letters.
That they're still investigating the accident?
Yes, correct.
And police were not as a report?
Yes, I just didn't bring the information, Your Honor.
You didn't bring the police report?
I didn't bring it.
I'd like to see photographs of your car after the accident. Do you have one full picture of the car? And then you can show me its parts.
Here's the front. Here's the back.
Okay, so that's where you hit somebody, and that's...
This is the rear. I have multiple rears.
Got it. Okay. That's a pretty bad accident. Was anybody hurt?
I was under a lot of shock, but fortunately no one was hurt. I had some chemical burn on my hand, but...
From?
The airbag.
From the airbag?
Yes.
How did you find the defendant who you brought your car to fix?
So I posted something on the San Diego Conscious Community page in regards to looking for someone who specializes under collision repair. So someone that I knew personally referred me to the shop TJ Crossman's, and she specifically asked me to ask for a guy named Ricky. So I said, great, I'm being taken care of. I'm just really looking forward to getting my vehicle fixed. So I
Who
went.
is this person?
This woman is someone that I knew that I thought I could trust.
Who?
Her name is Dulce.
And how did she say she knew Ricky?
She didn't go to ask for a guy named Ricky.
So you went and you found Ricky, and Ricky worked at a body shop.
Yes, correct.
Was your car drivable or not?
It was not. I had to get it towed there.
On what date did you get it towed there?
August 4th.
Mr. De La Vara, you're shaking your head no. It wasn't towed to your shop?
No, it was towed to the shop, ma'am. Your Honor, it wasn't a body shop or an automotive repair shop. Well, I don't work there anymore, but it was an automotive repair shop. It wasn't a body shop.
Okay. So what kind of work do you do?
I'm a health coach, and I also teach classes. Previously to the accident...
She's not a mechanic.
Yes.
Go ahead. Previous to the accident, what?
I was driving Uber as well. My vehicle was my means of making money, so just extra money.
When you brought your car into this mechanic's shop and you asked for Ricky, he introduced himself. And did you make a side deal with him that he would fix the car on his own time?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Okay. And the side deal that you made with him, which he would not be doing on his boss's time, was how much to fix your car?
He said anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000.
Had you gotten other estimates to fix the car?
No, Your Honor. At the time, I was living in fear. I was very emotional, and I just wanted to get my car fixed. I wasn't thinking clearly at the time.
Where did you get the money?
I just had money. It was my life
account or in a checking account? In what?
What
bank?
It was Huntington Bank. It was in my checking account.
Now, you say you wired the defendant money to start working on your car. Do you have proof of that wire?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Here's the first payment of $3,000.
And that went into what account of yours, Mr. De La Vara?
It was a Western Union. I just went and picked up the cash. It didn't go into an account.
Okay, so she wired it and you picked it up in cash at Western Union.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was $3,000. And then she sent you another payment.
Yes.
When?
I think it was 2 weeks after.
How much did she send you?
Another $2,000.
Did you fix her car?
I did not.
Why not?
I was in the process of getting the parts for the car, and I mean, I tried to save her some money because she was...
How long did it take you to get the parts for the car?
Well, I never got them.
When did she first send you the $3,000? On what date?
I don't remember.
Was that in August?
I don't remember the date, ma'am. It may have been.
What was the date?
It was the day of the accident. The day that she ran into me, or when I met her. That afternoon or the next day, she sent me the money and I went and picked it up. Thing is that for me to save her the money that I was trying to get her for $5,000, that repair, because I ended up taking it to one of the body shops that we used and they gave me an estimate because I was going to try to fix the car through them. It was $10,000.
You had the car for 3 months. What did the car look like after 3 months? You had the car and her money.
It looked the same.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
It was in the same condition as when it was towed into your shop.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's outrageous, sir.
Well, the thing is that I was trying to get the parts.
That means you just took her money.
No, ma'am, I was trying.
No, you just took her money. That's really outrageous, sir. That's really outrageous.
Okay, ma'am, I was trying to get the parts. I was trying to save her money. When I saw her, she was...
Try. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You did nothing.
That is correct,
You just
Your Honor.
took her money.
Your Honor, look, this...
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I actually contacted the woman who referred me to the shop, and I said...
I knew what it was going to cost to repair the car, and I just tried to help her out. Things fell through.
I wouldn't even dare to refer anyone to this person.
It was repairable. It's just extensive repair.
And then later to find that my car wasn't worked on at all.
And like I said, we weren't a body shop. We were just an automotive repair shop, so I was just trying to help her out.
Yes, it's going to be fixed. I have to just slowly make payments as I go.
Well, she went to my work and told them that I stole her money. And that was my only source of income.
I'm glad that justice is served.
I was going to pay for it, but I lost my job, so now there's no way of paying it.
All parties in the matter of Gray versus...
Gray is suing Jason and Lavetta Farrell after a run-in with their dogs caused Kathy to fall and injure one of her dogs.
Miss Gray, you and your husband and Mr. Farrell and Mrs. Farrell, all four of you were victims of a fire that occurred in Napa Valley sometime last year. Is that correct?
It was this year in August.
August.
Yes.
And both of your families and your pets were relocated to a hotel, and you were staying in the same hotel.
Correct. Sit down.
You, Mrs. Gray, have 3 Shih Tzus.
I do. I only have 2 now. I did have 3 at the time.
But you had 3 in August.
Correct.
And you have 1 dog that's with you. And it is your claim that on the 23rd of August, you went out with your 3 Shih Tzus to walk them, and you took your dog out for a walk. Mm-hmm. You went through the hotel lobby. According to you, at the time you went through the lobby, your dog was on leash. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Not a hum is not an answer. Yes is an answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you got outside, did you take your dog off leash?
No, Your Honor.
Is what you're telling me that your dog was on leash when this incident happened?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Plaintiff says otherwise. I would like that you are responsible for the vet bills that plaintiff incurred anyway. But it's important to me to have all of the accurate information. Do you understand? This is not a murder trial. Okay. So your dog was, according to you, on leash.
Yes, Your Honor.
And according to you, Miss Gray, your dogs were on leash. You came out of the hotel. Mr. Farrell's dog was not on leash. You had an exchange of words with him. He said something like, my dog is friendly, doesn't bite. And your dogs were excited and barking. That be a fair statement?
I'll tell you the story.
Would that be a fair statement? I'm asking you a question.
They were that way when they saw the defendant's dog, yes.
Yes. They were excited and barking.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I could recreate that situation right now.
Me too.
If I wanted to, which I don't. And what happened is the dogs were sort of running around, your dog, on leash.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Farrell's dog never touched either of your dogs.
No, they did not.
Or you.
No.
Or got within probably 8 feet of you.
Of me or the dogs? Probably 8 feet is probably the distance.
Oh, 8 feet. I said, didn't get within 8 feet of you running around, and you got entangled in their leashes and fell.
No, that's not what happened.
On the dogs.
That isn't what happened.
Did you fall on the dogs?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have to demonstrate how his dog being off leash was the cause of your tripping over your dog. Then
What do you want to
show me.
What do you want to see? First of all, they're lying. Their dog was not on a leash.
Kathy Gray is suing Jason and Lavetta Farrell after a run-in with their dogs caused Kathy to fall and injure one of her dogs.
Your dogs were barking, running around, and you got entangled in their leashes and fell.
No, that's not what
fell
happened.
On the dogs.
That isn't what happened.
Did you fall on the dogs?
I did fall on the dogs. I fell back on the dogs after I yanked them behind me. My dogs weren't running around. They were sniffing around to go potty, whatever. He came out of the hotel glass door with his dog off leash. There's bushes in between us and him. He looked at me and said, "Don't worry, she doesn't bite." And I said, "It doesn't matter if she bites or not. My dogs will bark. They're Shih Tzus. They're going to bite my leashes." His dog came through the bushes going, "Arr!" And I yanked them back behind me, and I tripped off the curb that was behind me and landed on all 3 of them. That's exactly what happened, Your Honor.
Well, you tell me, madam, if his dog didn't come within 8 feet of you, what caused his dog to stop?
Because they noticed each other. My dogs
dogs are very fast. Dogs are very, very fast. If he came out snarling and running towards your dogs, something had to stop him.
My dog, because he
didn't get.
Can I explain what happened?
It was very quick.
Can I show you a picture?
Go ahead.
See, which one should I do? So this one here. So we're walking from this direction. My dogs were up in here sniffing around. I was standing right here with them on their leashes.
Just a second. Hold on a second. Okay. You were standing where?
I was standing right here.
Show me where you were standing.
Probably somewhere around here.
Okay. Somewhere around here is not an answer. Show me where you were standing. It's your picture.
Right here.
Well, first you showed me closer to the curb.
Well, because, it happened so fast. I was holding their leash. They were sniffing around, and when I yanked them back, I fell off that curb. They came out of this door right here.
Just show me, Miss Gray. I now see where you were sniffing.
All around here.
And don't say anything. Okay. That looks to me about 10 to 12 feet away from you. Were they on retractable leashes or just long leashes?
One
Were
was.
they on? Look, no. Just listen to me. Don't say I believe. I want you to think. Were they on retractable leashes or short leashes?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It lunged at us, and it was snarling, and its teeth were showing, and it happened so fast, I just yanked my dogs back, and I fell. And it would not have happened if his dog wasn't there.
I'm not buying it.
Okay, you're not buying it, but it's true.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kathy Gray is suing Jason and Lavetta Farrell after a run-in with their dogs caused Kathy to fall and injure one of her dogs.
That looks to me about 10 to 12 feet away from you. Were they on retractable leashes or just long leashes?
One
Were they
was.
on? Look, no, just listen to me. Don't say I believe. I want you to think. Were they on retractable leashes or short leashes?
I'm trying to remember
I have
because
Shih
we
Tzus,
were
by the way.
I know you do. We were evacuated. We were improvised. Leash. I'm trying to remember. Everything was. But if I did, and I don't think I did because I can't yank that one back. So no, and the leashes aren't any longer than 8 feet. I think they're only 6 foot leashes.
That's more than 6 feet away from where you were standing if you tripped back over the curb, which is what you said happened.
Yeah, but I thought you asked me if the dog was within 8 feet of my dogs and me. So they were, it was close.
Just a second. What I'm telling you, where you say you were standing and tripped and fell over that curb, which is what you wrote in your complaint.
Yes.
Your dogs were more than 6 feet away from you.
Well, actually, no, they were in the air.
If they were...
Because I yanked them back. behind me, and I tripped.
Oh, okay. He's not responsible for you falling and injuring your dog.
Okay. But I have video of his dog off leash.
His dog is off leash.
Your Honor,
is a bad
I had to go through so much.
Miss Gray, that his dog is off leash is not a good thing. You have to demonstrate how his dog being off leash was the proximate cause of your tripping over your dog.
Definitely the reason why I fell.
Then
what do you
want to
see?
show me?
What do you want to see? First of all, they're lying. Their dog was not on a leash. They're lying, and she was there.
I am assuming. I'm assuming that their dog was off leash. I'm assuming that a cause between their dog being off leash and you're falling backwards. Now, what I don't believe is that their dog was off leash and lunged at your dog.
They did.
And the reason I don't believe that is I'm a dog owner. If a dog that's off leash is going to attack 3 little dogs, it doesn't stop cold in its tracks from attacking the little dogs, especially when they're no longer under control of anybody because the person who has control of them is on the floor. Then it would have absolutely gone if it was gnarling and snapping, as you alleged.
It snarled, it lunged at us, and it was snarling, and its teeth were showing, and it happened so fast, I just yanked my dog's back, and I fell. And it would not have happened if his dog wasn't there.
I'm not buying it.
Okay, you're not buying it, but it's true.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I'm not buying it. It doesn't make sense to me. As a dog owner my whole life, I realize that your dogs are Shih Tzu. 2 of them bark, 1 of them does not. And they bark at everybody. They bark as soon as they walk in. And the breed is not consistently known as yappers. But your dogs, prior to this case starting, when they walked in, they were the ones that were barking because I was at the bench. They were the ones that went after the defendant's dog. And then you picked them up. I watched that.
Okay.
And then you picked them up.
Okay.
That's what happened.
You're the judge.
Okay, your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you. Bye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
You guys think it's really funny, don't you? You guys lied.
And on the next Judge Judy.
She collided into my bike, and I had to stop my fall before I was hit by a truck. She said, "I'm sorry, but I'm running late for school."
Judge Judy.
I think Judge Judy did justice, and regardless of anything, as you could see, we did not have to talk.
Because they're guilty and they lied.
Dog on or off a leash, her dogs were the aggressors.
They lied that their dog was on a leash.
And she was
that day with your dog off leash.
I actually already handed the dog to her at the hotel entrance, and when I turned around,
because it's a bigger dog, it came at us through the bushes snarling, and so of course I'm gonna protect my dogs and fling him behind me.
The lady says, "I'm really sorry," and got tangled up. She had 1 leash that divided into 3.
It all happened like bam, and yes, when they all noticed each other, my dogs barked.
Got tangled up in her leashes and fell.
It happened so fast. I think I did, but I tripped off the curb.
I was upset about her dog's leg being broken in the middle of it.
And I landed on all 3 dogs.
We did as much as we could. My animal is a service dog. She goes to old folks' homes and wonderful with children. She just couldn't contain her dogs at that point.
And they also told me they were going to pay half the vet bill.
Not at all aggressive.
You did.
I send, my best wishes to her and her dog.
I hope you guys are happy your karma's going to get you.
You rented a car for him.
3 times.
Listen to me. Don't talk. You know I'm not crazy about you.
It was a damaged relationship from the start.
You destroyed the car.
Yes.
Right?
Accidentally.
But her love and money didn't stop.
Who gave him the credit card?
You're on a big manipulator.
He played you.
This is Judge Judy. Erica Fulcher, is suing her ex-boyfriend, Keshawn Holmes, for transportation costs, credit card charges, and for extorting money from her.
Judge, this is case number 144 on the calendar in the matter of Fulcher versus Holmes. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Fulcher, how old are you?
35 years old, Your Honor.
What do you do for a living?
I am a licensed esthetician and entrepreneur.
Single?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
Who introduced you to him?
My friend, Florence.
Do you know how old he is?
Yes, ma'am.
How old is he?
25 years old.
Do you know what he does for a living?
He's an inspiring rapper, I believe. And
he does nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you knew that he did nothing. You know, I'm an aspiring Grandma Moses. It's not going to happen for me. You know who that was?
No, ma'am.
She was someone who started painting at the age of 75 and did it very well. So your friend introduced you to this unemployed person who, according to you, told you he was at a crossroads in his life, trying to make himself better.
No.
You like yourself just the way you are.
Yes, ma'am.
There are some people that are born with confidence. They may not have anything to back it up, but they're born with confidence. It's a wonderful thing. Really, it's a wonderful thing for everybody to have that kind of confidence, even though they have done nothing, okay? So the first thing, according to you, started to date. Now, he says you were never dating. You were just friends.
Correct, Your Honor. We were not dating.
So when you said in your complaint, in September 2020, I met Sean through my best friend's brother, and we started dating. That was wrong.
I don't consider us to be in a relationship.
No grunting. What?
I wouldn't consider dating to be a relationship. It was definitely a
friendship.
friendship.
Well, you wrote it.
Yes, ma'am.
You wrote it. You wrote it dating. Dating is something more than just friends.
I agree, yes.
Well, were you dating or just friends?
Dating.
No.
There we go. That's what you said in your complaint. Now, Mr. Holmes, I would like you to give me your definition. Listen to me. You know, you may ultimately prevail in this case. That doesn't mean it's not going to cost you. What does the word dating mean to you?
Two people together, going out, having a bond exclusively, only, you know, and basically as an understanding that you two both are dating and, you know, y'all come to ask each other to date, boyfriend, girlfriend type.
Okay,
you know.
so let me pull out some words that you said. Exclusively. So to you, dating means neither one of you see anybody else.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I would like you to describe for me, give me a word to describe the relationship that you had with the plaintiff.
Transactional.
What?
I gave her.
What does that mean,
I gave her stuff for her assistance back, so it wasn't like anything just off the genuineness or muscle of like doing anything.
What did you give her?
Oh, money for the things that I'm being sued for and just time and stuff like that. Like I paid, like, you know, it was a conversation. Hey, can you do this? I will pay you. And yes, I will do this as long as you pay up front first. So it was nothing like, oh, speak, ma'am.
Could you please further describe to me what you mean when you say it was a transactional relationship?
Basically, everything was in front.
Mr. Holmes, stand up straight.
Got you.
And I want you to eliminate the word basically and like from your answers to me.
Yes, Your Honor.
No basically, no like. Perhaps I should be more specific with you. Did you and the plaintiff ever have sexual relations?
Yes.
More than once?
Yes.
More than 10 times?
No.
Between 5 and 10?
Nah, wouldn't say that. More like 4.
So between 1 and 5? 4?
Yes.
Now, when she rented a car for you that you destroyed, but she says you paid her $491.43 towards the rental fees, but you destroyed the car.
Yes.
Right?
Accidentally.
Well, an accident is when you're not doing something really stupid.
Well,
An accident happens usually when somebody is being cautious in a car and through no fault of their own or through a misjudgment, there's damage. But this says he was using the car to perform tricks. What kind of tricks?
It was a careless accident, and it wasn't too much of tricks. I was filming a music video, and Yeah, it was just the act, mistake going wrong, some new stuff I learned how to do. Brake gave out, couldn't push the brake in time. I hit a wall. Accept accountability for that. It wasn't like no secret. It wasn't like something I tried to hide or anything.
Okay. Your problem is, Ms. Fulcher, you're suing him for a lot of things. Fact force.
No, Your Honor. I have the evidence. He had a credit card in his name. He took the card himself.
Credit card, you did.
Who gave him the credit card?
Your Honor, the whole reason I gave him the credit card...
Who's responsible for paying the credit card, Ms. Holmes?
Yes, I'm the authorized account holder. Based off of the agreement that Mr. Holmes and I had, and me having empathy for him and him trying to transition.
Listen to me. I know exactly what it is when I read the papers. Do you understand? I want to show you how ridiculous you are.
Yes.
You rented a car for him.
3 times.
And don't speak out again. You know I'm not crazy about you.
Yes, ma'am.
You rented a car for him, and you saw what he did to the car, and you continued to do other things for him. Give him money for a plane ticket because he needed it, send him money because he needed it to get back home because somebody, he said, robbed him at gunpoint. You believed all that after you saw what he did to the rental car. And during that time, you were having intimate relations with him. According to him, 4 times. He said 4 times because he was being a wise Alec. The rest of it is on you. You didn't have a business arrangement with him that he didn't take seriously, but you did. And if you said to me, he was a young man, 10 years younger than I am, he wanted to transition his life, he wanted to do something more with himself, and, I had no relationship with him other than I met him, and I thought he had potential, and I wanted to help him. Well, that's one thing. Having sexual relations with him is something entirely different. Then you're giving money to a young boyfriend, and you don't get it back.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Women are supposed to be smarter. Unless what you're going to tell me that you didn't have intimate relation with him, then I'll listen to you. But you and I both know that that's not true.
Correct, Your Honor. Mr. Holmes is correct. We only had intimacy 3 times. So I was not attracted to him in that way, but I did have empathy for him, and I was trying to help him transition. The reason why I got him the credit card in his name was in efforts to teach him how to be self-sufficient and to disconnect myself from having to be accountable or reliable for him. He did state to me that no one ever, cares about him, that he really needed help. And one of the reasons, the really reason why I continue to do things is he's a big manipulator, and he would threaten me. He would...
You rented me a car 3 times.
I did not rent...
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Sorry.
Don't
Sorry,
talk.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Yes, I did not rent him a car 3 times. It was 2 times. When the second time happened, which was on October 17th, and she's my witness to account for that, he came to my house and distraught, and he was crying, telling me how he just needs my help again, and he's so sorry. And he even had me in tears.
Listen to me. Listen to me. He played you.
Absolutely.
He played you. There is only one part of your lawsuit that I am going to entertain. All the rest of it, you rack up to experience and being foolish. And the only thing that I'm actually curious about, because all the rest of it is, you had a young boy toy that you said, okay, I'm going to help him turn his life around. And then it all sort of kicked back at you. You asked him for the keys back the second time that you rented a car from him. I want you to tell me what happened when you wanted the keys back for the car.
On October 19th, when I asked him for the keys back, he told me that I needed to
Why did you ask him for the keys back to the second rental car on the 19th of October?
I never wanted to do it in the first part.
Just decide. Would you just
I was trying to get the vehicle back.
What happened that caused you to try to get the vehicle back? There had to be some change in your attitude.
Well, I was always trying to get the vehicle back. So Mr. Holmes came to my house on the 19th. And that morning, outside my house, I heard a lot of chaos. I heard someone calling his name, saying, Keyshawn, and I work from home. I had a Zoom meeting at 9 o'clock, so I couldn't address it. I was like, what is going on out there? I guess he was sharing his location with someone, and that person came to my house and was honking the horn.
Just a second. On October 18th, did he sleep over at your house?
Yes, ma'am.
So he slept at your house, and what you heard outside was a commotion because a woman was calling his name outside.
Yes, Your Honor.
That is playing out, and that scene is playing out. Put your hand down. I don't want to look at you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
Did you get married?
We did, just not there.
Where?
We had a online ceremony.
We could have done the virtual element as well.
You know, if I had different parents, I would have been 5'10" in law. It is.
Erica Fulcher says ex-boyfriend Keyshawn Holmes crashed her car, ran up her credit card, and extorted money from her.
Now, what you heard outside was a commotion because a woman was calling his name outside.
Yes, Your Honor.
That is playing out, and that scene is playing out. Put your hand down. I don't want to look at you. That scene is playing out in my head, that he spent the night at your house. Somebody came by that he was sharing his location with. So on the 19th, you said to him, give me the keys back to the car. You weren't always trying to listen to me. You weren't always trying to get the keys back. You had just slept with him on the 18th.
Your Honor, that is not true.
Yeah. Okay. So on the 19th, you said, give me the keys back. And he said,
give me $500 if you want the keys back, because he felt that he had given me money previously and he doesn't really know how to do math.
I did.
And so because it was that important to me, I went in my house and I got the money and I gave it to him to be done with him.
No,
I felt like, you know,
yeah, I got it. My if you want to help somebody, find somebody who's 9.
I understand, Your Honor.
And invest in their future. You understand. Good. Your case is dismissed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I'm satisfied with the decision, but, you know, I just didn't think that it should come this far. It is what it is. It's called life, and I accept my accountability for what I did wrong and my faults. I have no bad blood, so I always try to be on the good terms and try to come to some type of conclusion and even help. You know, I never wanted any type of drama or anything, but obviously, two people got to be mature about it and come together and be on the same page.
All parties in the matter of Khorassani versus Mekki, step to the podium, please.
Zaki Khorassani is suing Event Center COO Krista Mekki for the return of his rental deposit after pandemic restrictions caused him to change his wedding venue.
Mr. Khorassani, well in advance of your planned wedding, you booked the defendant's venue to have the wedding. According to what I read, you signed a contract in August of 2019. The wedding was supposed to take place in November of 2020.
Correct.
And you gave the defendants a $3,000 deposit to hold the venue.
That's correct.
And then COVID struck the planet, and you...
Exactly.
So I have a couple of questions to ask you before I look at the contract.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Everybody had already come around. Everybody knew the drill. Big Inside was a no-no. 0 people.
But on the date of his actual wedding, we could still do 50.
Is Corinthian Event Center still in business?
Yes.
They should be smarter.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Zaki Khorassani is suing Event Center COO Krista Mekki for the return of his rental deposit after pandemic restrictions caused him to change his wedding venue.
Now, you do understand that the reason for a deposit is so that the venue can not book any other event for that day. They are committed to doing an event for you on that date.
Yeah, the $3,000 deposit was... Yes.
The answer is yes. And you understand that the reason you booked so far in advance was because you wanted to ensure that no one else could get that venue. That's the reason that you booked so far in advance. And according to you, you planned a big wedding, 150 people. And your complaint alleges that in August of 2020, you were advised people in order to comply with the law in the state of California. You do live in California.
That's correct.
Correct? And somebody is going to tell me that at that time in August, events were limited, according to this, to 50 people, which actually at this point sounds like a lot for indoors. You had more people than that who had been invited to your wedding. Defendants say that's not our fault. We were prepared on the date of November 8th to have a function at our facility. It's not our fault that the state limited the number of people. So now I'm going to go to Ms. Mecki. In August of 2020, do you know what the governor's rule was with regard to gatherings in August?
Yes, 50 was allowed.
What was the limit?
Excuse me.
50 were allowed in August.
Correct.
How many were allowed in November?
At the beginning of November, 50 were still allowed. They changed the order on November 13th.
To how many?
Nothing inside.
0.
Correct.
And did that because?
COVID.
Right.
Right.
Did you get married?
We did, just not there.
Where?
We had a
No.
online ceremony at my house, our house.
On what date?
Originally get married.
So all your closest guests came virtually?
Yeah, we had our immediate families present, distanced, masked, maybe 8 people, and everyone else was able to dial in through the online virtual call.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, how many people are allowed inside now?
Still at 0.
He gets his $3,000 back.
Okay.
Do you understand?
We could have done the virtual element as well.
Yeah. You know, if I had different parents, I would have been 5'10" and lithe, but I did not have different parents. It is what it is. And your venue should be smart enough to understand that. If they were planning a wedding in August and at that time, foolishly, they were allowing 50 people to gather inside, then my reaction might be different. If you wanted, depending upon your safety, if you said, well, I can have 50 people, that's what the governor says I can have. But in November, everybody had already come around. Everybody knew the drill. Big inside was a no-no. 0 people.
We could still do 50.
Is what you're telling me on the date of his actual wedding, which was supposed to be on November 8th. And what you're telling me is that the governor's restriction, although announced before, took place on the 13th. Is that what you're saying?
The restriction took place on the 13th.
It was announced
correct.
before. It was announced before, but it was effective on the 13th. Is Corinthian Event Center still in business?
Yes.
They should be smarter. They should be smarter. Anyway, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. We're finished. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
Did you have the leash in your hand at all times?
Yes, I did. The pit bull had broken away from the owner. I was screaming. The dog was totally clenched onto my dog.
Next Judge Judy.
We gave them every opportunity to still have their event at our event center, just maybe not on the date that they wanted.
We understand that changing the date could have been a possibility for us, but we were very hard set on being married in November of 2020.
Due to COVID, but hey, she ruled how she ruled, and that's fine.
And we didn't want to reschedule, not knowing what the future would have held in case we would have had to reschedule again after that.
So
I understand the Stonewall approach, but I think everyone needs to be a little bit more compassionate during these times.
it is what it is. 2020 weddings. What can we say?
It's